Chapter 4136. 16 men teamed up to fight a demon wolf. Under Yu Zhangzong's command, everything went smoothly, even though 3 people had died in the process. Yu Zhangzong was also injured, but it didn't affect the result. As for the 3 people who had died, the remaining people were actually grateful because they would receive even more heavenly devil thunder jades. But right at this moment, Yu Zhangzong did something that no one could understand. He suddenly attacked and killed the 4 men who were closest to him. He was an early heavenly core warrior. Those 4 men were just earth core warriors. Since they were caught off guard, it was easy to kill them. Senior disciple Zhangzong, what are you doing? When the others saw what happened, they quickly gathered together. Their eyes were filled with fear and confusion. What am I doing? Don't you know? This heavenly devil thunder jade can only be mine. Don't even think about getting it. Yu Zhangzong sneered. Damn it, we're all from the Yu family. One of the warriors said, Idiots in front of benefits, not to mention being from the Yu family. Even blood brothers will turn against each other. While speaking, Yu Zhangzong attacked again, although the remaining 9 men fought back with all their might. The gap between their strength was still huge. In just a few moments, only 4 men were left. Of course, Yu Zhangzong was also injured once. After all, when fighting the demon wolf just now, Yu Zhangzong had used up a lot of energy. He was also injured by the demon wolf. But even so, Yu Zhangzong had an obvious advantage. We don't want the heavenly devil thunder jade anymore. Please, senior disciple Zhangzong, let us go. The remaining 4 men started begging for mercy. Let you go? Hee, no one can know about what happened today. If you leave, how am I going to return to the Yu family in the future? Yu Zhangzong sneered. He didn't show any mercy. This guy, he really doesn't change. He even dares to trick his own family. Is there anything else he won't do? In the dark, Ling Xiao watched Yu Zhangzong kill the men, but he didn't do anything. Why should he interfere with the internal strife of the Yu family? All he needed to do was wait for the battle to end. Then he would reap the benefits. Very quickly, the remaining 4 people were also killed by Yu Zhangzong. However, one of them ended up exploding his Naiden, severely injuring Yu Zhangzong. Damn it! Looks like I'll have to take the demonic thunder jade away and hide it to recuperate. Yu Zhangzong sat on the ground and swallowed a healing pill. Then he casually bandaged himself. Although he was injured this time, no matter what, he had obtained the heavenly devil thunder jade. It wasn't a loss. Who? At this moment, Yu Zhangzong was horrified to discover that a figure had appeared in a place where there was no one. You don't know me anymore? A genius of the Yu family. Ling Xiao smiled faintly and walked out of the darkness, arriving in front of Yu Zhangzong. At that moment, Yu Zhangzong was scared out of his wits. Why? He couldn't understand. Didn't Ling Xiao go to Puppet City in the south? Wasn't there a beast tied there? How could this guy still be alive? This was too inconceivable. Are you talking about the beast tide? As for me, I was lucky enough to survive the beast tide. Did I scare you? Ling Xiao smiled and walked towards Yu Zhangzong step by step, his eyes flashing with cold killing intent. Outside Puppet City in the east, I was fighting with Yuan Yi, but you interfered. If I wasn't strong enough, I would have died at that time. You know what the consequences will be. Don't kill me. I'll give you the demonic thunder jade. Yuan Yi hurriedly said. Do I need you to give it to me? Ling Xiao curled his lips in disdain and said, If I kill you, I can also get the demonic thunder jade. If you kill me, the Yu family won't let you off. Yu Zhangzong's face was very ugly. The thing that he had worked so hard to get was actually snatched away by someone else. And he might even lose his life. This was really a little too depressing. Chi! Without any hesitation, Ling Xiao pierced a finger directly into Yu Zhangzong's forehead. On the finger, violent sword qi raged in Yu Zhangzong's body. It was just a short moment. Yu Zhangzong's entire body, including his inner core, turned into fragments. Idiot, I've already killed people from the Yu family. Do you think I'll be afraid of killing one more? After killing Yu Zhangzong, Ling Xiao walked to the side of the demonic thunder jade. The huge demonic thunder jade contained a terrifying amount of energy. Ling Xiao absolutely had enough reason to believe. As long as he completely absorbed the energy of the demonic thunder jade, his physical body would be upgraded to peak 8th Order Emperor realm. Keep. He put the item away, hidden in the mountain river world. As long as he fought, the energy would be absorbed by his body, tempering it. In this way, his physical body would continue to grow stronger, so there was no need to waste time in seclusion. Moreover, he didn't have time to go into seclusion now. The demonic epiphyllum had not been found. This was the key. Moving forward, about 1 li in front of Ling Xiao, there were about 20 cultivators resting there. One of them was a very familiar face. She was Black Pearl. Next to Black Pearl was an unfamiliar face. This man was also a powerful warrior from the Black Flame sect. His name was He Ming. He Ming was about 35 years old, early heavenly core realm, same level as Yu Zhangzong. The environment in the Thunder Mountain was too harsh. Every time they walked a certain distance, they would have to rest for a while. They climbed up the Thunder Mountain from the other side. Therefore, in the first half of the journey, they didn't run into Ling Xiao and the others. Therefore, they didn't see the huge demonic thunder jade. Some cultivators tore apart the cleansing water talisman and drank the clean water. These talismans weren't used for fighting. The cleansing water talisman could be used for drinking, bathing, and cleaning. It was very useful. Also, it had a long shelf life. It was much better than keeping it in a storage ring. Everyone was quietly doing their own thing, recovering their stamina, recovering their true yuan, waiting for the rest of the journey. I wonder how Ling Xiao is doing. Black Pearl looked towards the direction of Puppet City. There was a beast tied over there, and they could see it from afar. However, the distance was too far. It was impossible to send help. Plus, Ling Xiao didn't send out any distress signal. Therefore, she didn't go there. But in her mind, she was still worried about Ling Xiao. After all, he was an important ally. Crack! Swoosh! Thunder continued to rumble, and strong winds blew. Everyone's mood was somewhat anxious, but they were still cultivators, so they were able to stay calm. Something's happening. Suddenly, Black Pearl and another powerful warrior from the Yu family, Yu Luan, stood up. Yu Luan was a peak heavenly core warrior, and his strength was similar to Yu Fang's. But one of them chose Puppet City in the south, while the other chose Puppet City in the north. They had split up. After a while, He Ming and a few other powerful warriors stood up, because everyone could feel the danger. End of chapter. Chapter 40:137. There's an enemy. This isn't right. How could there be an enemy on Thunder Mountain? Could it be a demon beast? He Ming frowned. It's not a demon beast. The aura isn't right. It's a human martial artist. Black Pearl shook her head. Her cultivation was higher than He Ming's, so she could feel it more clearly. Yu Luan also nodded on the other side. Logically speaking, although the martial artists who entered Fengdu Devil Forest were definitely competitors, but under normal circumstances, it was impossible to release such a terrifying, murderous aura. Not long after, the enemy was approaching. Everyone's expressions were not very good. These people numbered close to 1,000, and all of them were wearing armor, covered from head to toe, only revealing a pair of eyes. In his eyes, lightning incantations appeared. This is troublesome. The southern Puppet City encountered a beast tide. I originally thought it was strange. Generally speaking, the demon beasts of Fengdu Devil Forest would never attack Puppet City. Seeing these people, I can confirm it. Black Pearl frowned and said, "This is the legendary human devil army." Human devil? He Ming was stunned for a moment. In this world, there were two kinds of existences related to the extraterritorial devil race. One of them was the devil cultivator. The devil cultivator used the devil race as a tool to increase their own cultivation, but they did not obey the will of the devil race. The human devil was different. Most of the human devils were human martial artists controlled by the devil race. Even because of intermarriage with the devil race, a brand new race was born. They would worship the devil race from birth, treat humans as their enemy. Where there are human devils, there must be extraterritorial devils. Yulwan's brows also furrowed. This trip to the Fengdu demonic forest might be even more terrifying than everyone had imagined. Most of the human devils were savage by nature and ate human flesh as food, human blood as water. What they liked the most was the flesh and blood of martial artists, because the more they ate and drank, the stronger they would become. In the past, it was just a rumor, but today they saw the eyes of these human devils. They were almost certain that the rumor was true. Those eyes revealed hunger and cruelty. They did not treat them as humans at all. Instead, they treated them as food. Fortunately, they were all devil cultivators and had been dealing with devils for a long time. So although they were surprised, they did not panic. If it were a martial artist from the Golden Sky domain, they would probably be scared out of their wits. Kill! A roar sounded out from among the human devils. It was using the human language. Soon after, a terrifying rain of arrows covered the sky and the earth like leeches. These arrows were all made with special methods. Even if a divine core warrior was hit by this arrow, he would definitely be injured. The demonic human walked out from the darkness and took revenge on the humans. The rain of arrows in the sky was illuminated by the lightning. It was a picture of a strange battle in the middle of the night. Black Pearl gritted her teeth. Activating his true essence, he formed a circular barrier around his body. The other martial artists also had spirit talismans to protect themselves. The effect of this volley of arrows was actually only to weaken and exhaust the enemy. As for killing these 20 martial artists, it was not that easy. We, the Yu family, are not afraid of you. A cold snort sounded out from the crowd. Yulwan flew up into the sky. She held a spear in her hand. She thrust it through the air. A huge phantom of a heavenly devil appeared behind her. It looked like an eagle. Wherever the spear pointed, the eagle would fall. The ground suddenly exploded. It was as if a lightning bolt had struck down. The arrow rain in the air was swept away by the spear. The spear didn't lose any of its momentum. It simply crashed into the group of human devils. Dozens of human devils were impaled, and blood splashed into the sky. Their bodies were shattered. What a powerful person, Yulwan! Black Pearl sighed. Amongst all the geniuses from the Black Flame sect, she was the most outstanding one. But she was just a perfect heavenly core warrior. But this Yulwan was only ranked 5th or 6th amongst all the geniuses from the Yu family. But she was already so powerful. Interesting, the geniuses from the Yu family from the Fengdu Devil Kingdom are indeed different from ordinary people. That spear in your hand is also an immortal, rank, heavenly king weapon. With your strength and your weapon, I'll be able to defeat you. These human devils are no match for you. But you seem to have forgotten that we, the human devil clan, also have geniuses. Yulwan had killed dozens of human devil warriors with a single spear strike. But before anyone could celebrate, suddenly, a wild laughter came from the darkness. Then, a terrifying energy wave struck. It easily blocked Yulwan's second attack. Crack! The lightning bolt struck down, and a man could be seen standing in the sky. This man was wearing a white robe, and his face was also frighteningly pale. He wasn't wearing any armor, but compared to those human devils who were wearing armor, he was even more frightening. Not good. It's the Scholar in White from the Human Devil Clan. Although this title sounded very elegant, it was still a very elegant title. Scholar in White? But, in fact, everyone who knew this man knew the Scholar in White was a very frightening existence. He was one of the absolute geniuses of the Human Devil Clan. A few years ago, the Human Devil Clan was single-handedly defeated by the Devil Emperor. Only a small number of them managed to escape into the wild mountains and forests. They were doing some shameful things. This Scholar in White was a very arrogant human devil genius in recent years. He had sneaked into the human domain and killed many human warriors. On the Heavenly Demon Ghost Territories bounty list, he was one of the top. On the bounty list, as long as you kill this scholar in white, you can get a supreme rank soul stone. You can also get a heaven-breaking pill. That's right, I've heard about it as well. But this guy is pretty strong, can you kill him? Ha 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 ha, you guys seem to be interested in my bounty. The scholar in white laughed and said, Actually, not only you guys, I'm interested as well. A heaven-breaking pill can give a heavenly core warrior a great chance of breaking through to the extreme core realm. A piece of supreme-grade spirit stone was equivalent to 10 million high-grade spirit stones. It's also very tempting. To be honest, if it's possible, I want to sell myself. Don't be so arrogant. Although you're strong, you'll die in my hands today. Yulwan shook her spear and shouted at the scholar in white. Both of them were perfect, heavenly core warriors. It was normal that Yulwan wasn't afraid of the scholar in white. Ha 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 ha, Yulwan. Oh, Yulwan, you're so stupid. Why did I look down on you guys? You and the Black Pearl are both existences that can threaten my life. Do you think I'll come alone? While laughing wildly, the scholar in white crushed the talisman in his hand. In an instant, 13 tall and mighty figures appeared in front of the human devil formation. They were all about 7 to 8 meters tall. They looked like humans, but they weren't puppets. They looked more like monsters that had been modified from the bodies of demon beasts. Genius 1, second, remember the site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 40, 138. The demon-human tribe had been defeated by the demon emperor. In order to revive the tribe, they had put in a lot of effort. Deep in the mountains and forests, they were researching the mutation of species. The 13 tall and mighty monsters unleashed by the scholar in white were the new species they had created, giant devils. They were about 7 to 8 meters tall. Human form. Their skin was thick, and they had incredible strength. These were their characteristics. What was even more surprising was that these giant devils could also cultivate martial skills and secret skills. Their combat strength was even more terrifying than ordinary warriors. Giant devils, they actually succeeded in their research. The Black Pearl's expression was ugly. All this while the research of the demon-human tribe had never been a secret, but most of the time humans had treated this research as a joke. They didn't really care. But today, these giant devils had appeared. They couldn't help but be surprised. Humans still didn't know much about these giant devils. But judging from the current situation, the combat strength of these giant devils, they were probably at the early heavenly core realm. Among these 20 men, there were only 3 who were at the heavenly core realm. Yulwan, the Black Pearl, and Haiming. Their opponents were 13 giant devils, and there were so many other demon-human tribes. With the addition of the scholar in white, how are they going to fight this battle? Ha 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 ha. The scholar in white laughed out wildly. Giant devils, today is the day you'll be rewarded. Use your own hands and make these pathetic demon cultivators pay the price. They used the power of the heavenly devils, but they didn't pledge their loyalty to the demon race. What an ungrateful bunch. Don't try to sound so righteous. This world doesn't belong to the demon race. If you're just here to stay, it's fine. But after the demon race arrived in the mystic world, they started massacring all living beings in the mystic world. That's why the human king killed all of you. Now, the real demon race no longer exists in the mystic world. All that's left are the remnants of the demon race's bloodline. How can we let you be so arrogant? Yulwan, you're in charge of that scholar in white. The rest of you, focus on the demon-human tribe. As for those 13 giant devils, just leave them to me and Haiming. The Black Pearl suddenly sneered. What arrogance! 13 giant devils, you want to deal with them all by yourself? You think too highly of yourself, the scholar in white said with disdain. However, the Black Pearl ignored him. Suddenly he took out a black ball. It looked like some kind of crystal that contained a strange energy. He casually threw it out towards the 13 giant demons. Yulwan nodded slightly. With a flick of the spear in his hand, Zhang Yuan erupted from his body. The long spear turned into a phantom and stabbed directly at the scholar in white. Although he didn't know what the Black Pearl wanted to do, at present, the Black Pearl's arrangement was the most appropriate. Among the people who had come, the most troublesome ones were the scholar in white and the 13 giant demons. As long as the two of them could hold off the remaining human devils, it would be easy to deal with them. He Ming did not dare to be negligent. A black flame appeared behind him. The flames gradually condensed into a huge black wolf. The black wolf roared and charged at the enemy. The scene became very tense for a moment, and a battle was about to break out. Not good. That's the devil-suppressing black blood bead. At first, the scholar in white didn't pay much attention to the black spear that Black Pearl had thrown out. But suddenly, the 13 trolls were kneeling on the ground. Their huge bodies seemed to be suppressed by something. At that moment, he understood what it was. But it was a bit too late. The black spear enveloped the 13 giant demons. As if they had been cursed, the 13 giant demons were unable to move. They became useless. This devil-suppressing black blood bead was indeed terrifying. It contained the blood of ancient heavenly demons and was refined with many precious materials. It was specifically designed to deal with demons. Because the human devils had human blood, they were not greatly affected. But that troll was a pure troll. They were greatly affected. Even if it were 13 giant demons once trapped, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens to escape. And even if they did escape, their strength would be greatly weakened. One had to know that the devil-suppressing black blood bead was an extremely rare item. There was only one of it in the entire heavenly demon ghost region. It was personally refined by the former demon emperor. Because the human devil clan was basically wiped out, the demon emperor gave this item to a designated person for safekeeping. But how it ended up in the hands of the Black Pearl was unknown. Who are you? How could such a treasure be in the hands of a little girl like you? The scholar in white's expression was very ugly. These 13 giant demons were the demons that their human devil clan had painstakingly researched. Were they going to be killed before they were even put to use? He was just thinking. He Ming's flaming black wolf had already pounced into the black ball of light. Even though those giant demons were very powerful, but they were weakened by the devil-suppressing black blood bead. In addition, He Ming himself was not weak. In the end, several of them were burned to death in an instant. If he did not stop the Black Pearl, these 13 giant demons would all be finished. You don't need to care how this thing fell into my hands. You only need to understand that you are here to die today, and that is enough. The Black Pearl sneered. This treasure had been hidden by her for a long time. It turned out to be her mother's item. She didn't expect it to come in handy now. Hurry up and attack. The scholar in white was blocked by Yuan and had no way to deal with the Black Pearl. He could only give the order to the human devils under him. A group of human devils rushed forward, attempting to interrupt the Black Pearl's casting. Others quickly blocked them. The Black Pearl shouted. The remaining 17 warriors all went out to fight. One must know that Yuan and the Black Pearl had already blocked the most powerful enemy for them. Now it was time for them to show their strength. A confrontation between 17 people and hundreds of people. Actually, they were not necessarily at a disadvantage, because their overall strength was more powerful. The two armies faced each other. The slaughter began. Thunder and lightning intersected. The moon was dark and the wind was strong. Corpses, blood, blade light. Everything seemed so cold and cruel. But this was the most realistic world of warriors. A bitter battle. This lasted for a full half an hour. Human devil corpses were all over the place. A few warriors also died on the side of the warriors. Only 12 of them were left. But it was obvious that they still had a huge advantage. Suddenly, at this time, a strange whistle sounded. The human devils suddenly retreated. From among them, a slender figure wearing a blood-red armor walked out. It should be a female devil. The long sword in her hand was also blood-red. The tip of the sword had an extra barb. Once it pierced and pulled out, even the internal organs would be pulled out. In this battle, more than half of the human devils were lost. That was why she suddenly appeared. In her cold eyes, there was a cruel glint. Devil cultivators are indeed powerful. It was the devil who gave you power. So today, you will return the power to the devil. This female devil's voice was very pleasant to hear, very tempting. The terrifying aura made everyone suffocate. End of chapter. Chapter 4139. Blood, turtle dove. She is a blood turtle dove, just like the scholar in white. She is a genius of the human demons. She is younger than the scholar in white. Therefore, there is a slight gap between their strengths. But she is still an early 8th level divine core warrior. We are no match for her. The remaining 12 devil cultivators looked terrified. Facing a heavenly core warrior, there was nothing they could do. Hey Ming, you go and help them. I'll handle these 13 giant devils. Seeing this, Black Pearl had no choice but to say, "Understood." Hey Ming seemed to listen to Black Pearl. Obviously, he knew Black Pearl's identity. Kill. The blood turtle dove ignored Hey Ming. Her speed was incredibly fast. During the battle, she was like a blood-colored turtle dove as she flew into the crowd. She swung her cold blood hook sword. The heads of the 2 Xioma cultivators had already been removed. Hey Ming chased after her. Although he had the strength, he couldn't attack the blood turtle dove. He was extremely anxious. What was even more depressing was that those human demons who had retreated had once again unleashed arrows from afar. Their target was Black Pearl. Hey Ming had no choice but to protect Black Pearl. Their disadvantage in numbers had caused them to suffer greatly. Right at this moment, the battle in the sky was raging like a raging fire. Yulwan and the scholar in white were locked in a fierce battle. Both of their strengths were on par with each other. Naturally, they were in a stalemate. Out of the original 13 giant devils, only 10 were left. 3 of them were burned to death by Hey Ming. Although the remaining 10 were weak, they were only under Black Pearl's control. Black Pearl had to control these 10 giant devils, so she couldn't attack them. He was caught in a dilemma. Actually, if Yulwan could kill the scholar in white, this battle would be over. But the problem was, could Yulwan really do it? The scholar in white was fighting with a folding fan. However, this folding fan was as tough as a heavenly metal. It was also an immortal rank heavenly king weapon. No matter how strong Yulwan was, she couldn't hurt him. On the ground, the 10 cultivators were fighting the blood turtle dove together. They were at a disadvantage, but luckily they didn't lose face and none of them were dead. Hey Ming was protecting Black Pearl while attacking the human demons from afar. Both sides were in a stalemate. However, at this moment, the key factor that would determine the outcome of this battle appeared. The scholar in white, holding the folding fan, suddenly revealed a cold smile. A talisman appeared in his hand. It was a black talisman filled with strangeness and viciousness. This divine grade heavenly king artifact, spiritual talisman, is prepared for you. He didn't want to use it at first, but seeing the human demons being killed by Hey Ming one after another, he couldn't take Yulwan down for the time being. With the battle in such a stalemate, it would be extremely disadvantageous for them if more Xioma cultivators came. Therefore, he took it out. 9 Ingu demon. The talisman exploded. Black smoke suddenly filled the entire space. If the human demons wanted to rise again, how could they only place their hopes on the trolls? Gu demons were also one of their research directions. Gu demons and trolls were 2 completely opposite research directions. Trolls were existences that could become a fighting force. As for Gu demons, they were purely used to disgust people. The 9 Gu demon was the most insidious and vicious existence among the Gu demons developed by the human demon. Once released, the Gu demon would turn into smoke and invade the human body. Not only would the body feel powerless, but the blood and chi would also be absorbed. The scariest thing was, even the soul would be affected by the Gu demon. For those with weaker soul strength, once they were affected by the goo demon, they would wake up. They would become a walking corpse under the goo demon's control. Of course, this was only a divine grade, heavenly king artifact, spiritual talisman. If a heavenly core warrior circulated his true yuan to defend himself, he could still defend himself. As for an extreme core warrior, he would only need to consume half of his true yuan to defend himself. But it still couldn't stop the 9 goo demon from being terrifying. Within the human demon tribe, only those with extremely high status could have something like this. If the scholar in white didn't have a mission, he wouldn't have been able to get his hands on it. The moment the 9 goo demon exploded, Yulwan, Black Pearl, Ming, and the others all had terrified expressions. None of them expected that the enemy would have such a terrifying existence. A ferocious face even appeared in their souls. It was as if their souls were about to be devoured. That ferocious face was the true face of the 9 goo demon. Ah, ah, ah. Miserable screams kept ringing out. The few men who were still able to defend themselves against the blood-spotted dove instantly fell to the ground, tortured by the 9 goo demon. Even the blood-spotted dove didn't dare to stay within the range of the 9 goo demon. It scurried to the side. Blood-spotted dove, bring the other human demons and ambush the other warriors. Just leave the matters here to me. The scholar in white said in an indifferent tone. Yes, sir. The blood-spotted dove flew into the sky and soon disappeared from the misty Thunder Mountain. No one knew how many more demon cultivators would suffer from this. Ming desperately resisted the 9 goo demon, not letting it hurt Black Pearl. Young master, don't hold on any longer. Let's run. This thing is too terrifying. In order to let Black Pearl escape, he let the 9 goo demon enter his body. His expression had become extremely ugly, but he was still a heavenly core warrior. He could still hold on. Black Pearl glanced at Ming. Then she clenched her teeth and circulated her true yuan, forming a golden light around her body. She was going all out now. No matter what, she couldn't just leave Ming behind and run away. The golden light enveloped her and Ming, but she coughed up blood. Controlling the demon-suppressing Black Blood Pearl already consumed a lot of true yuan and energy. Now, she still had to resist the 9 goo demon. She was really close to dying. She couldn't release the demon-suppressing Black Blood Pearl. Once she released it, those 10 demon cultivators would be even more troublesome. Now, she could only hope that Yulwan could kill the scholar in white. In the sky, Yulwan's spear was madly thrusting out. A spear shadow was formed around his body. The 9 goo demon couldn't get close to him. He looked at the situation on the ground, then looked at the scholar in white. Suddenly, he clenched his teeth and rushed towards the scholar in white. If I kill you, the 9 goo demon won't work anymore. Humph, you think you can kill me? The scholar in white was actually a little depressed. After using the 9 goo demon's talisman, he also consumed a lot of energy. If Yulwan really wanted to kill him, he would have to run away. In the end, all his previous efforts would be wasted. But he didn't expect that Yulwan was just making a feint. Then he turned around and ran away. The scholar in white was stunned for a moment. Then he suddenly laughed wildly. Ha ha ha, this idiot. Cough. Although he was very happy, he was obviously injured in the battle with Yulwan. It wasn't good. The reason why he said Yulwan was an idiot was because his situation wasn't good. Although he's an idiot, his combat strength is very strong. In a one-on-one fight, I'm really not his opponent. I have no choice but to use the 9 goo demon. This guy let the blood turtle dove leave because he was injured. There was something that was hard to say. Genius 1 second, remember the site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 4140. Human devils were much crueler than what the outside world had imagined. Once you showed your injuries in front of your own people, you would be brutally killed and eaten. Your strength would become someone else's as well. If the blood Turtledove found out he was injured, it would never let him go. But luck was still on his side. Yulwan had escaped, and so had the blood Turtledove. Only Black Pearl and Haiming were still struggling to defend against the 9 Ingu devils. Ha ha ha! Black Pearl, your demon-suppressing black blood pearl is pretty good. Too bad you brought some useless teammates with you. I'd like to see if you still have the ability to go against me. The scholar in white slowly walked towards Black Pearl. Right at this moment, Haiming had completely fainted. In order to protect Black Pearl, he had used up all of his true yuan. Right now, he was on the verge of death. He wasn't far from death. Swoosh! A black object suddenly shot out from Black Pearl's right hand. The scholar in white sneered and blocked it with his folding fan. Although I'm injured, a trick like this is nothing to me. He was proud of himself. However, Black Pearl sneered. I knew you would block it. Explode! It was a heavenly core warrior's core that Heizhu had obtained from an unknown place. Suddenly it exploded. The scholar in white was sent flying away. Blood splashed out from his body. Right at this moment, Black Pearl fell onto the ground. Only the demon-suppressing Black Blood Pearl was still controlling the 10 giant devils. Good move, Black Pearl. I didn't expect you to have such a trick up your sleeve. But if you can't kill me, what else can you do? The scholar in white sneered and crawled up from the ground. His entire body was aching. He felt like many of his bones were broken. He was staggering as he walked. Obviously, he was severely injured. But even so, his condition was better than Black Pearl's. Black Pearl smiled bitterly. Right now, she had no strength left. She could only wait for death. But for some reason, the young man's shadow kept flashing in front of her eyes. If he was here, would anything change? He was just a peak 6th divine core warrior. Hell's Shadow Strike! Right when Black Pearl was in despair, a cold voice suddenly sounded out from the darkness. A sword wrapped in darkness pierced into the body of the scholar in white. The terrifying power directly sent the scholar in white flying. Pooh! The scholar in white spat out a mouthful of blood. They looked in horror at the figure walking out of the darkness. Who are you? He would never have thought that someone had been hiding in the darkness, waiting to stab him, although he didn't manage to kill him. However, this greatly weakened his strength. As a member of the human demon clan, his physical body was extremely strong. However, he was continuously injured by Yulwan, the Black Pearl, and this sword. He was also in a lot of pain. Ling Xiao. When Black Pearl opened her eyes, she saw Ling Xiao attacking the scholar in white. Ling Xiao did not dare to be careless when he failed to kill the scholar in white with a stab of his sword. He raised his sword and attacked again. Once again, he thrust his sword at the scholar in white's throat. The crimson gold sword, wrapped in mad killing intent, was only an inch away from the scholar in white's neck. Ling Xiao could even feel the crimson gold sword piercing the scholar in white's throat. Blood splattered everywhere. It was a success. As long as he killed the scholar in white, not only could he save the Black Pearl, but he could also get many good things. However, at this moment, something unexpected happened. A pair of heavenly demon horns grew on the scholar in white's head. His body also became much stronger. His skin seemed to be made of steel. It became extremely hard. The crimson gold sword stabbed the scholar in white's throat, but it could not pierce through. Instead, he was sent flying. Brat, I was almost killed by your sneak attack just now. How can I be stabbed again this time? The scholar in white sneered. His body had completely changed. He had completely entered the form of a demon. A human demon was in 2 forms, human and demon. In human form, they could use many martial arts and secret techniques. In demon form, their physical body was even more terrifying, and they could use demon secret techniques. Of course, only human demons whose cultivation had reached the divine body realm could use demon form. The reason why the scholar in white had changed was because of the talisman. He knew that his talisman could only last for 3 minutes. Therefore, he had to end the battle as soon as possible. Otherwise, once the talisman's effect was over, he would be at the mercy of this human. Heavenly demon soul voice. Suddenly, the white-robed scholar released waves of whispers from his mouth. This voice was the same one that Ling Xiao heard before. However, the voice was louder and more powerful. It was no wonder that people would die because of this voice. It was actually the heavenly demon's soul voice. The human demon lineage had started to act long ago. It was just that it was a secret operation before, but now it was open and above board. However, while the heavenly demon soul voice was effective on others, it was ineffective on him. His heavenly demon I was of a higher level than the heavenly demon soul voice. Not to mention that his soul power was stronger than the other parties. Ling Xiao pretended to be affected by the heavenly demon soul voice and became crazy. His eyes were scarlet red. The scholar in white sneered and charged over, wanting to kill Ling Xiao with one palm strike. This abominable human brat had almost ruined his plan and almost killed him. He hated him very much. Wrath of the Black Soul. However, the moment the scholar in white pounced over, Ling Xiao smiled. The wrath of the Black Soul, which ignored defense, blasted out. The scholar in white had no way to block it. The distance was too close. The other party suddenly exploded again. In the end, he was hit head-on and his body was sent flying again, blood spurting out wildly. Damn it! How could this be? How could you resist my heavenly demon's soul voice? The scholar in white was repeatedly injured by Ling Xiao and was about to go crazy with anger. Look here! Ling Xiao smiled slightly and opened the heavenly demon eye. What? The scholar in white foolishly went to look. The moment he saw that terrifying pupil, his mind instantly fell into a daze. The transformation was also cancelled because of this. Ling Xiao sneered and took advantage of this opportunity. He directly used the heaven-covering palm. A palm flew out from the void and directly slapped down, turning the scholar in white into meat paste. His inner core was smashed to pieces. Of course, even though it was a smashed inner core, some energy was still flowing into Ling Xiao's body. The energy in his cultivation C had increased by 30%. Although it was slow, it was still increasing. Once he broke through to the 7th divine core realm, his combat strength would skyrocket. The scholar in white is dead. Black Pearl never expected that the one who killed the scholar in white would be Ling Xiao. When the scholar in white released the talisman and transformed into his devil form, she thought Ling Xiao was dead for sure. But now, it looked like she was worried for nothing. Ling Xiao was much stronger than she had imagined. Eat this. Ling Xiao fed the healing pill into Black Pearl and He Ming's mouths. At the same time, he activated the 9-headed hell, serpent beast soul, and absorbed the 9 Yingu devil from their bodies. The 9 Yingu devil was extremely powerful. If it was used at a critical moment, it would definitely have a miraculous effect. End of chapter. Chapter 40, 141. This is for you. Black Pearl suddenly handed the demon, suppressing black blood, Pearl, over to Ling Xiao. For me? Ling Xiao was startled for a second. Such a treasure. He felt like it was a hot potato. That's right. Perhaps this item is only safe in your hands. Also, there are 10 giant devils in this demon suppressing black blood pearl. Roughly 10 days and 10 nights later, you'll be able to control all 10 giant devils. These are 10 early heavenly core giant devils. They will be very useful to you. Can't you just keep them for yourself? Ling Xiao was puzzled. Firstly, my survival skills are not as good as yours. Secondly, my total Jinyuan is not as good as yours. No matter which one it is, you are more suitable than me. In order to control these 10 giant devils, you'll need a huge amount of Jinyuan to refine them day and night. I can't handle it. If I keep them, I'll have to kill them all. What a waste. Black Pearl explained. All right then, I accept. Ling Xiao didn't reject anymore. He simply stored the demon-suppressing black blood pearl into his mountain river world. Let's go. We can't stay here any longer. Ling Xiao knew that something big had happened here, even if no one knew about it. It might not be safe for them to stay here. Therefore, after Black Pearl could move again, she threw the unconscious He Ming into the Dongsheng Emperor ring. No matter what, He Ming had fainted because of Black Pearl. She had to help him. After that, both of them continued moving forward and quickly left the scene. About half an hour after they left, more people suddenly appeared at the scene. One of them was Yu Luan, who had escaped earlier. The other three were Yu Feng, Yu Chen, and Yang Zhan. Yu Feng, Yu Chen, and Yang Zhan were stronger, so they were faster. They left the others behind. They were chasing after Ling Xiao, but they didn't expect to bump into Yu Luan. When Yu Luan saw the reinforcements, she quickly returned. But who would have thought that when they arrived, what they saw was completely different from what they had imagined? The scholar in white is dead? Yu Luan stared at the scholar in white in shock. His storage ring was nowhere to be found. Black Pearl and He Ming were gone as well. What happened? Everyone was dumbfounded. Everything at the scene was too strange. Could it be that an expert made a move and saved He Jinju and He Ming? He killed scholar in white again. Yu Luan frowned. Regardless of whether or not that is the case, that demon-suppressing black blood pearl definitely cannot be held by a little girl. That thing should belong to our Yu family, not to mention the power of the demon-suppressing black blood pearl. Just the symbolic meaning of it being something bestowed by the Devil Emperor means that it absolutely cannot fall into the hands of others. Yu Feng said coldly, "Let's go. We might find something unexpected along the way." At this moment, Ling Xiao naturally didn't know what was happening behind him. They continued on their way to Puppet City in the west. Along the way, he looked for opportunities to find the demonic Dutchman's flower. What powerful energy! The Black Pearl suddenly stopped. She had a strange treasure in her hand. It was a candle. When the candle neared a nearby cave, it suddenly burned wildly. This candle of mine is called the treasure hunting candle. Only when it sensed the aura of a treasure would it suddenly burst into flames. From the looks of it, there must be some treasure in this cave. It might even be the demonic epiphyllum. Do you want to go? The Black Pearl looked at Ling Xiao and asked. Of course. Ling Xiao nodded. The reason he entered Fengdu Devil Forest this time was for the demonic epiphyllum. Now that he had sensed the aura of the demonic epiphyllum, how could he let it go? Let's go. The Black Pearl walked in front, and the candle burned more and more fiercely. Both of them were very careful. Walala! Suddenly, a strange sound came from the front. Ling Xiao opened his Taiji eye and saw a black mass of things flying over. It's lightning bats. Let me do it. Ling Xiao rushed to the front and entered the undying bird beast soul transformation. Flames wrapped around his body, illuminating the cave. After those bats flew over, they were all burned to death by the terrifying strange flames. They let out miserable cries as their bodies burned like charcoal. Ling Xiao just walked forward. He did not even need to attack. The lightning bats along the way could not get close to him at all. Anyway, the width of the cave could only allow one person to pass through. As long as Ling Xiao stayed in front, the Black Pearl would not be injured. After a long time, the scene in front of them suddenly became bright. In the huge belly of the mountain, there was a huge space. At the entrance, there was a teleportation gate flashing with a faint white light. A small world? I did not expect there to be a small world here. Previously, Ling Xiao had obtained the heaven shrouding palm. He wondered what he would get this time. Let's go. The two of them passed through the teleportation gate and came to a vast world. As for how big it was, they did not know. Anyway, they could not see the end of it. The flames of the treasure hunting candle were still burning. They could confirm that the treasure was inside. Be careful. Small worlds usually have a unique law system. It is very likely that powerful beasts and monsters will appear. I even suspect that the demonic humans might be hiding here. You have to be very, very careful. The Black Pearl reminded. We're thinking of the same thing. I've also smelled the aura of the demonic humans. As a beast god, Ling Xiao was very sensitive to smells and auras. From the moment he stepped into the cave, he had already smelled a very strange scent. It was very similar to the scholar in white. Then what do we do? Should we retreat? The Black Pearl asked worriedly. The scholar in white had already made them suffer. If this was really the demonic human's nest, they would be in trouble. It's impossible to back out. Since we are already here, we can't just leave without doing anything. How about this? Let's go in and take a look. If we encounter any trouble, you can hide in my Dongsheng Emperor Ring. I will think of a way to escape. Ling Xiao might not be confident in other things, but when it came to escaping, Ling Xiao believed that he was at least the best in this Vindu demon forest. All right, I will listen to you. The Black Pearl nodded. Perhaps he was just scaring himself. Even if the demonic humans had a nest here, it might not be their main one. Perhaps there were other nests in other places. In order to survive, the demonic humans would definitely not let all their members gather together. Otherwise, they would be easily wiped out. In this dark and damp small world, there was not a single trace of light. There were many glowing crystals here. Although it was not too bright, it was not too dark either. Moreover, any martial artist had the ability to see in the dark. This was not a problem at all. Ling Xiao continued to walk in front. The Black Pearl paid attention to the movement behind him. This was not the tunnel. Basically, they could encounter danger if they went forward or backward. It was better for each of them to take care of one side. Humph, humph. Suddenly, a strange sound rang out. Then, a black shadow flashed out from the strange stone forest. End of chapter. Chapter 41-42. A black shadow suddenly flashed out from the forest of strange rocks. It opened its bloody mouth and tried to bite Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao didn't even look at it. He just threw out a punch. With the help of the Tai Chi Eye, he knew how strong these monsters were. Although he had deactivated the Undying Bird Beast Soul transformation, he was still able to fight them. But even with his true form, his defensive martial skill had reached the level of an 8th Order Emperor realm. As long as it wasn't a heavenly core warrior, he had nothing to fear. Besides, he had swallowed the heavenly devil Thunder Jade, and in order to activate its power, he had to use his body to fight more battles. Bang! He threw out a punch, and it landed squarely on the Dark Shadow's body. The Dark Shadow let out a miserable shriek, and it was smashed onto a rock nearby. It then plunged into a stalactite. It was a swamp-tusked boar. It had the strength of a peak Earth core warrior. It was best at ambushing its prey in the dark. Its terrifying impact could even kill a warrior at the same level as it. Most importantly, it was extremely fast. If you couldn't hit it with a single attack, it would find a chance to kill you. Even if it couldn't kill you, it would find a way to escape. When it came back again, it would bring a group of its own kind with it. Therefore, it was best to kill it with a single attack. If not, it would be very troublesome. After that, both of them encountered many strange demon beasts. But with Ling Xiao's Tai Chi Eye, these monsters were nothing. What both of them were worried about the most was the demon human clan. The scholar in white was too scary. The blood turtle dove was nowhere to be seen. Who could be sure that there wasn't a stronger demon human here? As the saying goes, whatever you want will come to you. While both of them were thinking, suddenly, a dense rain of arrows came from the dark. All of them were filled with evil aura, human demons. Through the Tai Chi Eye, a group of about 100 human demons was hiding in a dark corner. They were shooting evil arrows at them. They are not human demons. Black Pearl also noticed those things. She shook her head and said, "Those should be Gorlin demons that were first researched by the demon-human clan. Gorlin demons are the lowest level demon beasts in the Black Tortoise continent. That was why the demonic human clan had used them for research purposes. The Gorin demons developed are much more powerful than Gorin beasts, and their intelligence is also stronger." Ice Aeon. While the Black Pearl was explaining, Ling Xiao had already released Ice Aeon. All the arrows fell to the ground before they could reach them. Although these Goron demons were not as strong as the giant demons, they were still at the Earth Core realm. 100 Earth Core realm Goron demons were not easy to deal with. You're injured. Continue to heal yourself. I'll deal with them. On one hand, Ling Xiao was concerned about Black Pearl's injuries. On the other hand, he hoped that he could improve his physical body through battles. He wanted to absorb more of the heavenly devil Thunder Jade. All right, Black Pearl also understood that these goblins were not difficult for Ling Xiao. The most troublesome ones were still existences at the level of the Scholar in White. Therefore, the most important thing for her now was to recover as soon as possible. As long as her body recovered, it would be more convenient for him to help Ling Xiao later. The Goron demons noticed that the arrows did not cause any damage to Ling Xiao. Therefore, they all rushed out. More than 100 Goron demons were like more than 100 short monsters, not to mention their ugly appearance. The key point was that each of them had green skin. It made people uncomfortable to look at them. They were mumbling, and no one could understand what they were saying. Just as the Black Pearl said, the Goron demons were much stronger than the Goron beasts. Not only did they have superior physical fitness, they were not strong enough, but they were flexible enough. And among this group of Goron demons, there was a guy who stood out from the rest. His body was stronger and he looked more powerful. Other than that ugly face that was similar to other Goron demons, there seemed to be no other similarities. Come on. Ling Xiao stretched his body. Suddenly, he bent his legs, stepped on the ground, and shot out like a spring. He directly attacked the Goron demons. Oh my God, this human is not bad. He's not afraid at all after seeing us. He actually dares to charge over. That's not right. Where's that woman? We have to rely on this woman to reproduce. Goron beasts originally had the habit of living like ants. The queen of Goron beasts reproduced. But after becoming a Goron demon, there was a change. Their terrifying reproduction ability could even achieve heterogeneous reproduction. Human women were also treated horribly by Goron demons. Many villages near the Fengdu Devil Forest had been massacred, and all the men had been killed. The women were taken away. At first, Ling Xiao couldn't understand their language, but the Tai Chi eye could translate everything for him. Forget it. Let's take care of this man first. That woman might be hiding. One of the Goron demons rushed towards Ling Xiao. Although he was short, his muscles were very developed. Holding the long spear with both hands, he kicked his legs and directly stabbed towards Ling Xiao. He believed that he could win, because his spear had once stabbed a human perfect Earth Core realm martial artist to death. And the man in front of him obviously did not have a high cultivation as that guy. Die for me. Ling Xiao did not dodge or evade, and directly punched the long spear. Crack! The long spear broke into several pieces. While the Goron demon was still in shock, he saw a terrifying fist the size of a jar in front of his eyes. There was no time to react. Bang! His brain completely lost its ability to think. He was directly sent flying. In midair, he did not let out a scream, because his head directly exploded. The corpse fell to the ground, and the rest of the Goron demons were shocked. They finally realized that perhaps they had underestimated this seemingly weak human. Attack together! The leader of the Goron demons roared. Actually, there was no need for him to say that. More than a dozen long spears had turned into javelins and directly stabbed towards Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao did not dare to be negligent. He used Falling Plum Clear Shadow Step and easily avoided these attacks. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The long spears stabbed at the position where he was standing. The body of the spear was still shaking. Goron demons are more terrifying than I imagined. At the same cultivation level, human martial artists are not a match for these guys. It seems like the demonic human clan is really trying their best to make their clan stronger. Ling Xiao looked at the long spears. The attack power was definitely enough to pierce through his black tortoise divine body. He did not dare to be negligent. He quickly entered the King Kong ape beast soul transformation in order to train the strength of his body. This transformation was the best kind. Oh my God, this kid can actually transform. Brothers, kill him and let the master study him. The leader of the Goron demons shouted again. The group of Goron demons almost simultaneously pounced towards Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's cold eyes flashed with a cruel light. Facing the Goron demons who were rushing towards him, he actually rushed out again. End of chapter. Chapter 41-43. How could the goblin demons notice Ling Xiao's change? The difference between beast soul transformation and non-transformation was huge. They could only use their own lives to test it. Boom! Golden light flashed on both arms. Ling Xiao punched forward with both fists. The power this time was so great that it couldn't be compared to the previous punch. More than a dozen goblin demons were sent flying. You hit me, I hit you. Some spat out blood. Some had their brains burst. Falling plum clear shadow step. Falling plum shadow. It was not over yet. After Ling Xiao attacked, he immediately used falling plum clear shadow step. One person turned into two, like a wolf or a flock of sheep. In the eyes of the goblin demons, Ling Xiao was too fast. So fast that they saw Ling Xiao's shadow everywhere. Every time they wanted to rush forward, they would find that they directly hit Ling Xiao's fist. It was like they were taking the initiative to commit suicide instead of fighting. Damn it! Seeing his subordinates being killed one by one, the goblin demon leader was furious. With a roar, he pounced on Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao was naturally on guard against him. Seeing this guy coming over, he did not dodge. He flew up and kicked. Golden light wrapped around his right leg. The power was frightening. It directly kicked through the body of the goblin demon leader. Human, so scary! The last goblin demon collapsed on the ground. 100 goblin demons were all killed. Blood dyed the ground red. And Ling Xiao also felt that during the battle, the demonic thunder jade was constantly being absorbed. It was obvious that his physical fitness was constantly improving. After the battle, he released the Black Pearl. Seeing the corpses all over the ground, the Black Pearl was very surprised. Even for me, it is not easy to kill these goblin demons. You're much stronger than I thought you would be, especially your physical body. How exactly did you cultivate it? So enviable. Let's not talk about this. I seem to feel a very powerful demonic aura. Although Ling Xiao was praised for being good, his brows were still tightly furrowed. He could sense that something unexpected was about to happen. What they had guessed about the human demon lair was most likely true. Boom! At this moment, the entire world seemed to have suddenly lit up. The glowing red lights were particularly eye-catching in this small world. In this blood-red light, Ling Xiao saw at least 1,000 humanoid devils, tens of thousands of forest demons, and hundreds of giant demons. Although he had guessed this before, his heart still couldn't help but beat faster when he saw these human devils. The human demon had actually built an army camp in this small world. It was obvious that he had lived here for a long time. The worst thing was that they had been discovered by these guys. Furthermore, the human demon army was closing in on them. The two of them were in a very dangerous situation. Logically speaking, both Ling Xiao and the Black Pearl should be panicking right now. But in reality, Ling Xiao wasn't nervous at all. The Black Pearl looked at Ling Xiao in surprise. Her originally uneasy mood was also smoothed out by Ling Xiao's calmness. Ling Xiao's strength wasn't as good as hers, but he could still keep calm. What did she have to be afraid of? Qi Yaoguang, Qi Niming, can you fight? At this time, Ling Xiao calmly calculated his battle strength. I'm fine. It's just that my brother hasn't recovered yet. He can fight, but he can't last too long. Qi Yaoguang replied, That's good. Qi Niming, if a human demon of the extreme dance stage appears, you can deal with it. If not, you can continue to heal. No problem. Qi Niming had already rested for a long time and had already recovered part of his battle strength. but because he was hit by the demonic blood palm, he couldn't last too long. I also want to fight. He Ming also woke up at this time. He listened to the Black Pearl's narration of what happened later and was naturally grateful to Ling Xiao for saving his life. You should forget about it. Recuperate well. You can't even stand up. Just as he finished speaking, the army had already surrounded them. There were few guys standing at the front of the army. All of them were Heavenly Core warriors. The strongest one was a peak Heavenly Core warrior, and he was as strong as the scholar in white. He had a pair of black devil horns on his head. His skin was red. Even her hair was a fiery red. There was a long blade on his waist. That is the young master of the human demon tribe, Emo Hongwan. He is stronger than the scholar in white, and I think he has more treasures than the scholar in white as well. The Black Pearl was the young master of the Black Flame sect, so she knew a lot about the human demon tribe. The second guy had no horns on his head, and his skin was pale white. He looked old, and one of his eyes was squinting. No one knew if he was blind or used to it. The most frightening thing about this guy was the gourd in his hand. He had a feeling that something would pop out from it. That guy is called Throwing Dagger Hidden. He's good at taking people's lives. He is also a peak Heavenly Core warrior. The Black Pearl continued. The third guy was a girl. Her face was covered with a black veil. Her skin was green, and she had a long tail. She had a great body, and she only had a single horn on her head. No one knew what kind of abilities she had, but her cultivation was much weaker than the other two. She was only an early Heavenly Core warrior. That girl is called Zi Yuan. Don't underestimate her. I heard that she will transform into a devil the moment she is born. She is very scary. The fourth guy was a strong man. He was about 3 meters tall, and he looked like a strength-type warrior. His name is Black Barbarian. He is Zi Yuan's brother. He is also a late Heavenly Core warrior, but his combat strength is not to be underestimated. Basically, these 4 were the leaders of the army. All of them were stronger than Ling Xiao. Emo Hongwan, Throwing Dagger Hidden, Zi Yuan, Black Barbarian, the Red, Turtle Dove outside, and the scholar in white who just died. This group of human demons is really scary. Ling Xiao furrowed his brows. Without hesitation, he summoned Qi Yaoguang. Sisters, please be careful when dealing with Emo Hongwan and Throwing Dagger Hidden. I will think of a way to deal with the rest. If you can't defeat them, don't fight them head-on, just retreat. There were too few people on his side, and Ling Xiao had only made the most reliable arrangement. At the same time, he used the Dongxing Emperor Ring to summon 1,000 heroic souls. These heroic souls were all peak 6th Heavenly Core warriors. They had the same cultivation as him, but in terms of combat strength, they were no match for him. But no matter what, this would reduce the pressure on him. Black Pearl, the Black Flame sect, has been destroyed by the Yu family. Why are you still helping those humans? Why don't you just join us? Emo Hongwan obviously knew who Black Pearl was, he said with a smile on his face. Not interested, Black Pearl replied coldly. If that's the case, you can die here. Emo Hongwan suddenly launched an attack. He pulled out the long blade on his waist and leapt towards Black Pearl. The friction between the long blade and the air produced a strange sound. It was very harsh. Judging from the attack's movement and speed, one could easily tell how powerful this attack was. End of chapter. Chapter 41-44. Die. Since I dared to come here, I'm not prepared to die. If I really want to die, you guys can go and die. Black Pearl stood there and sneered. She waved her hand, and a ball of black true essence condensed into 2 balls of black fire. The black fire turned into a lotus and actually condensed into 81 flowers. Then she released them all. The black fire burned and roared. She actually wanted to burn Emo Hongru and his subordinates to death. In the previous battle, the Black Pearl was held back in order to trap the 13 powerful giant demons. She didn't use her true strength, but today she didn't have any worries, so she naturally wanted to go crazy. Boom! Whoosh! Although Emo Hongru and the others blocked or avoided the lotus formed by the black fire, Not every human demon could avoid it. The group of goblin demons behind Emo Hongru were the first to be unlucky. When the black fire lotus touched them, their bodies immediately burned. They let out miserable cries and rolled on the ground. In an instant, they were burned alive. In an instant, over 100 of them died. I'll go too. For some reason, Qi Yaoguang had a very strange idea. She didn't want Black Pearl to show off in front of Ling Xiao alone. So she also wanted to make a move. The water of the Jasper pool poured down like a torrential rain. The target was throwing dagger show. Of course, at the same time, it also enveloped the other human demons, goblin demons and giant demons. Similarly, they killed over 100 enemies. Then, Black Pearl and Emo Hongru fought. Qi Yaoguang and Throwing Dagger Show fought. 1,000 Dongwang spirits had already started a frontal battle with the goblin demons. Of course, the one who had to face the most enemies was still Ling Xiao. But Ling Xiao had never been afraid of the enemy's numbers. Bloodthirsty Plague. He first released the Bloodthirsty Plague, and a large area of red fog quietly began to weaken the strength of all the enemies. This was a large area support skill. Hell Hydra's 9-snake poison domain. This was also a skill that worked together with the Bloodthirsty Plague. Not only could it hide the special effect of the Bloodthirsty Plague, at the same time it could also poison those demons. Demons used poison, but it didn't mean that they weren't afraid of it. 10,000 snakes. Tens of thousands of poisonous snakes pounced out, assisting the 1,000 Donghuang spirits. Of course, this wasn't the end. In the dark and damp underground, water was abundant. Ling Xiao released his canopy beast martial soul once again. Water Giant, Yellow Springs Water. The Water Giant continued to assist the Eastern Emperor's spirit in battle. The water of the Yellow Springs continuously corroded the enemy. Then he released the Cerberus beast soul. Scorching Hell, Hell's Gate. The Scorching Hell was formed, and the magma monsters began to wreak havoc, attack the enemy. The gates of hell opened, and thousands of skeleton soldiers and death knights stepped out, although their combat strength was not considered strong. However, there were so many of them. At the very least, they could be used as cannon fodder to weaken the enemy. 10,000 beasts' blood, refining formation. Plague bone, dissolving formation. Lesser myriad, lightning, immortal slaying formation. Ling Xiao didn't hold back and took out all of his abilities to deal with the beast tide. Only then could they make up for their disadvantage in numbers. Kid, do you want to make your 10 trolls stronger? Yuan Venerate's voice suddenly rang out. I haven't controlled them yet. How am I supposed to control them if I make them stronger? Ling Xiao said with a bitter smile on his face. You have the demon-suppressing black blood pearl, but its true purpose is not to suppress the devils. Its purpose is to strengthen the devils. Yuan Venerate explained, in the past, your master had some connections with the demon emperor, and we talked about the use of this item. I even helped you modify it. You just need to kill those human devils, Gorlin devils, and giant devils. Then draw their blood into the demon-suppressing black blood pearl. Then you can condense the truly terrifying, demonic black blood pill. This item can only be used by the devils. If you use it well, you can raise the combat strength of those giant devils to the extreme core realm. According to my calculations, even if you kill all the devils here, not including those human devils, you can still cultivate 3 perfect heavenly core giant devils. Although the giant devils can't use any martial skills. They can only fight with their bodies. However, you should know how much help a perfect heavenly core giant devil can give you at your current stage. So powerful. Ling Xiao really didn't expect the demon-suppressing black blood pearl to have such an effect. It looked like the people of the Black Flame sect were really wasting resources, although this cultivation method was really evil. But who would care? In the mystic world, the one with the biggest fist was the king. If you couldn't even survive, why would you care about evil? That was just ridiculous. Kill that kid, he's really troublesome. Right at this moment, Ziyuan and Heyman both rushed towards Ling Xiao, because they saw it. Although Ling Xiao's cultivation base wasn't high, it was really troublesome. Almost all the large-scale attacks and massacres were carried out under his command. If they didn't kill Ling Xiao, the situation would be really bad for them, because they could feel that the longer Ling Xiao's formation was maintained, the stronger it became. Falling plum blossom steps. When Ling Xiao saw the two guys rushing towards him, he didn't want to fight them head-on. Instead, he used the falling plum blossom steps to avoid them. At the same time, he unleashed the falling plum blossom steps. The Eastern Victory Sky Sword and Eastern Victory Demon Sword appeared in his hands. In today's battle, if he didn't risk his life would be taken away by others. So, of course, he had to use his sharpest weapon. Purple Lightning Bull Beast Spirit, Earth Shaking. The moment he dodged, he released Earth Shaking. All the demons felt the world spinning. Some of the demons even fell to the ground. Innate God and Devil Seal, Slaughterhouse. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Ling Xiao struck out with both swords. Violent and dense sword chi enveloped the entire battlefield. In an instant, the demons that fell to the ground were all killed by the sword light. It wasn't that they were too stupid, but that all of Ling Xiao's attacks were just right. It was completely released at the right time. The strangest thing happened at this moment. The demon-suppressing black blood bead actually released transparent threads that stuck to the bodies of the dead demons. In an instant, their blood was sucked dry. It merged into the demon-suppressing black blood bead. It's really evil. After the demon-suppressing black blood bead absorbed the blood, it began to refine the demon black blood pill on its own. During this process, Ling Xiao didn't even need to control it. It was all done automatically. Black pearl, black pearl. Do you know what kind of good thing you gave me? With this thing, my strength will definitely undergo a terrifying change. Seeing this scene, Ling Xiao became more and more excited. Innate God and Devil Seal, Bloodthirsty Forest. Another move was released immediately after. Ice Aeon. At the same time, the Power of Frost was released. Together with the Bloodthirsty Forest, it was another large wave of harvest. Ling Xiao might have a headache dealing with warriors who were stronger than him, but as long as their strength was inferior to him, it would be as easy as cutting vegetables. A large amount of blood continued to be absorbed by the demon, suppressing black blood bead. Finally, a demon black blood pill was condensed. Its entire body was pitch black, as if it was a living thing, filled with terrifying magic power. This was condensed after killing hundreds of demonic beasts. End of this chapter. Chapter 41-45. Ling Xiao deliberately didn't fight with Ziyuan and Black Barbarian. He only killed a large number of minions. The siblings couldn't do anything but worry. Their speed was not as fast as Ling Xiao's. What could they do? Attack the Black Pearl or Qi Yaoguang? If that was the case, Ling Xiao would definitely launch a sneak attack. Attack the Eastern Emperor's spirit? Ling Xiao didn't care. After all, even if the Eastern Emperor's spirit died, it could be summoned again after a day. It was summoned as cannon fodder. He didn't feel sorry for it. Blood, screams, sword beams. The devils were killed one after another. A large amount of blood flowed into the demon, suppressing black blood pearl. Another demon black blood pill was successfully condensed. Kill! Suddenly, a giant devil charged at Ling Xiao. This giant devil was also difficult to deal with, although his combat strength was not as good as Black Barbarian and Ziyuan, but he was still an early Heavenly Core warrior. Ling Xiao really couldn't do anything to him. When he wanted to dodge, he found that there was no way out. He was surrounded in the sky and on the ground. Run! Why don't you run? Ziyuan let out an angry roar. After struggling for a long time, they finally trapped Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's speed was too difficult to deal with, but fortunately they had more people. They had the advantage of numbers. I'm not afraid of you. Ling Xiao sneered. Suddenly, a talisman appeared in his hand. It was the divine grade, heavenly king, weapon-flying sword talisman that he had bought in the eastern puppet city. The flying sword talisman shone brightly. A flying sword directly pierced through the head of one of the giant devils. The giant devil's entire head was cut off. It was this gap that allowed Ling Xiao to escape. The giant devil's blood was also sucked into the demon-suppressing black blood pearl. The effect of the demon-suppressing black blood pearl was very secretive. In addition, it was a chaotic battle, so no one could see it clearly. No one had time to pay attention to it. After escaping, Ling Xiao became even more careful. His flying sword talisman could only be used 3 times, so he couldn't be careless. If he was trapped again, he would have to use the Earth Golden Light skill. That thing not only consumed true essence, but also consumed physical strength, so it couldn't be used too much. Moreover, it was easy to expose his trump card. Very bad. At this moment, in the sky, the battle between Black Pearl and Red Devil Maru, as well as Qi Yaoguang and Flying Dagger Show, had already reached its climax. They were locked in battle. Seeing that the 2 women were not in danger, Ling Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. He continued to harvest the heads of the demons. Young master, think of something. This brat is very crafty. Purple Yuan and Black Barbarian couldn't do anything to Ling Xiao, so they could only ask Emo Hongru for help, even if Emo Hongru couldn't be separated. However, he had many treasures on him. Suddenly, a mirror was thrown out. Ling Xiao did not even have time to dodge before he was sucked in. Then, Zi Yuan also rushed in. Little brother, you kill all those guys outside. Leave this brat to me. Ling Xiao found himself in a strange space. There was nothing but a vast expanse of whiteness around them. The space was almost endless, as if there was no end to it. This should be a space-type magic treasure used to restrain the opponent. Just as he was thinking, Zi Yuan had already charged in. At this time, the anxiety on her face had disappeared. There was only ridicule and contempt. Those blood-red pupils stared at Ling Xiao condescendingly. Let's see where you can run now. Running around like a mouse. Do you really think I can't deal with you? Zi Yuan sneered. Tisk, it's not your treasure. What are you being so arrogant for? Ling Xiao glanced at Zi Yuan disdainfully. He could feel that this mirror-like space treasure was even more powerful than his martial spirit barrier. It could completely block everything from the outside world. Even his Taiji, I could not see the situation outside. Arrogant brat, what is your name? Zi Yuan was not angry, because she knew that there was no need for her to be angry here. Anyway, Ling Xiao could no longer hurt her subordinates. You talk too much. If you want to fight, then fight. Do you really think that I'm afraid of you if we fight one-on-one? Ling Xiao showed some disdain. Outside, he did not dare to reveal all his trump cards, but inside he could use the tyrant martial spirit without any distractions. In the end, who would be the one to die? This stupid human demon really didn't know in his heart. Okay, then I'll fulfill your wish. Zi Yuan was angry again. At that moment, Ling Xiao suddenly felt a terrifying and dangerous aura coming from the void. He did not dare to be negligent and hurriedly used the falling plum-clear shadow steps to dodge. At this time, he realized that there was no way to fly in this space. Moreover, even his speed would be greatly reduced. This was the most terrifying part of this space. Invincible Vajra. At the critical moment, Ling Xiao hurriedly released the invincible Vajra. The devil's claw in the void stretched out. It was directly attached to the invincible Vajra. The invincible Vajra was heavily shattered. That terrifying power even sent Ling Xiao flying. The moment he fell to the ground, he felt a chill all over his body, as if he was about to be frozen. Although the invincible Vajra blocked the opponent's killing blow. But the price was not small. Ha ha ha, you didn't expect this, did you? This magic treasure was prepared for you. In here, your speed is useless. Zi Yuan did not continue to attack. because she also suffered a loss. The flames released by the invincible Vajra burned her hands, although they were healed in an instant. But it also stalled for time, giving Ling Xiao time to catch his breath. Otherwise, if Zi Yuan continued to attack, Ling Xiao would really have a headache. This woman, no, it should be said that she is a female demon. Her attack power is extremely powerful. Her attack speed is also extremely fast. It seems that this space only restricts the speed of the enemy, but not the user and the user's allies. It's really a good thing. Ling Xiao stood there, holding 2 swords in his hands. He had already recovered. His body was extremely strong, and he would not be injured by just one attack. Zi Yuan was only at the early heavenly core realm. There was no way she could instantly kill him. Bah! As long as I'm not dead, don't be too happy. The final winner is still unknown. With 2 swords in his hands, Ling Xiao charged forward. Innate seal of celestial and devil, myriad beast unification. A brutal force was gathering in the 2 swords. This surprised Zi Yuan. According to her prediction, Ling Xiao would definitely try to escape. She really did not expect Ling Xiao to take the initiative to attack. Should I say that you are brave, or should I say that you have lost your mind? How dare you attack me? Zi Yuan looked at Ling Xiao with disdain. Then she punched out with both her fists. The berserk sword qi was actually completely dispersed. Zi Yuan's punch broke through the sword energy and landed on Ling Xiao's body. Ling Xiao was sent flying backwards. He felt like his bones had been shattered. He fell to the ground and could not get up for a long time. He quickly drank a big mouthful of qi and blood wine. The healing effect of the qi and blood wine was even better than his healing pill. His broken bones were still healing, and they were still intact. Not only that, a large amount of the heavenly devil Thunder Jade's power was also mobilized. It poured into his body. Lightning could be seen jumping up and down on his body. But that terrifying devil energy. End of chapter. Chapter 41-46. How can this be? You're a human. Why is there such pure devil energy in your body? You're not a devil cultivator. Zi Yuan was surprised. The situation was a little different from what she had imagined, and she was really confused. No matter what, I'll kill you first. Without giving Ling Xiao a chance to fully recover, Zi Yuan dashed forward. Her body turned into a shadow, and her speed increased to the extreme. Although she wasn't as fast as Ling Xiao under normal circumstances, but in this dimension, she was faster than Ling Xiao. In a flash, she arrived in front of Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao could even feel a terrifying chilly wind blowing towards him from all directions. It was like a black tornado that was going to tear him into pieces. Shadow Warrior. In front of Zi Yuan, Ling Xiao suddenly disappeared. Zi Yuan's punch landed on the ground. Sand and stones were sent flying, and the ground cracked. The dimension felt like it was going to collapse. But what was the use of this? It was meaningless if she didn't hit him. Just a little bit more, that was too dangerous. In the Shadow Warrior form, Ling Xiao was breathing heavily. He was still affected by the attack just now. There were signs of his injuries worsening. Originally, I wanted to use Zi Yuan's strength to strengthen my body. But now, it looks like Zi Yuan is really terrifying. If I don't use the martial soul of Tyrant, I'll be dead if I take another hit from her. Ling Xiao gritted his teeth. He knew he couldn't be careless anymore. Therefore, he unleashed the martial soul of Tyrant. In just an instant, the white dimension turned into a pitch-black universe. Zi Yuan was shocked. She wanted to find the exit, but she didn't even know where it was. She could feel that Ling Xiao's strength had become extremely terrifying in an instant. I have to admit, this human devil is really strong. It's not like I haven't killed an early heavenly core warrior before, but it didn't take me this much effort. You're the strongest early heavenly core warrior I've ever seen. Ling Xiao appeared again. His body had also changed. The peerless heavenly rat's transformation had become even more ferocious than before. It was even more beautiful. More importantly, he could sense that the original beast god's aura had become even more frightening. It was as if it had merged with the might of universe tyrant. Ziyuan actually felt her body trembling. You, who are you? Ziyuan asked about Ling Zhao's identity twice. It was just that the previous time it was disdain, but this time it was fear. Who I am is not important. What's important is that our battle is not over yet. Ling Zhao smiled and did not use any martial skills. With a leap, he jumped toward Ziyuan. His right leg smashed down from the sky. This space's restriction on speed seemed to be ineffective. Of course, Ziyuan would not wait for death. He desperately resisted. However, he was still smashed into the ground by Ling Zhao's kick. What a terrifying power! Why? What did you do? Ziyuan wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. He jumped back. Ling Zhao, who had just been suppressed by her, was actually able to hurt her now. Although the injury was not serious, it was still very difficult for her to accept. Ling Zhao did not answer. He continued to attack. Ziyuan could only defend passively. A human and a human demon fought from the sky to the ground in the space. Then, from the ground to the sky. They were completely evenly matched. Awesome. It's really awesome. The battle went on for 100 rounds. Ling Zhao could feel that the heavenly devil thunder jade was constantly being absorbed by his body, and the heavenly devil thunder power in his body was becoming more and more abundant. His physical strength and strength were soaring rapidly. Finally, at the 150th round, Ling Zhao's body burst out with bright lightning. In this light, the dense demonic aura was even more terrifying. Ling Zhao had the heavenly devil bone, with the heavenly devil thunder jade. It could be said that they were connected by flesh and blood and became even stronger. It's improved. 8th level mid-level emperor realm. He could feel the power emerging from his body. He could also feel the terrifying defense of his physical body. On Ziyuan's side, the more she fought, the more shocked and terrified she became. The shock that Ling Zhao brought to her was too great. Miss Human Demon, it's time for the battle between us to end. He had achieved a breakthrough in his physical body, and the energy in his cultivation C had also increased to 40%. Ling Zhao felt very satisfied, but he couldn't waste any more time. When he was fighting here, he didn't know what was going on outside. Do you really think you can kill me? I haven't used the Heavenly Devil's secret skill yet. Ziyuan, who had been in her demonic form, was finally going to use her true strength, because she knew that if she didn't use her true strength, she would probably die in Ling Zhao's hands. Ling Zhao didn't dare to be careless. The heavenly sword of East Victory and the demonic sword of East Victory merged into one, the sword of God and demon. It began to condense a powerful force. The blood and killing intent of the blood-drilling heavenly rat were constantly injected into the sword of God and demon. On the sword, there seemed to be a terrifying beast entrenched there. What kind of martial skill is this? It feels so terrifying. Ziyuan frowned, but she didn't have time to think too much. At the same time, she also unleashed her most powerful heavenly devil's secret skill. Purple light destroys the world. The bright purple light formed a huge blade and slashed down on Ling Zhao's head. Blood-drilling heavenly rat of the 12 divine beasts technique. Ling Zhao released his attack at the same time. The purple light and the blood-red light were released violently in the entire space. Crack! The mirror in the outside world actually cracked. Boom! More and more cracks appeared. Finally, it couldn't bear it and collapsed. From that space, a terrifying energy flew out and spread in all directions. It was simply sweeping away everything. Originally, under the leadership of the Black Barbarian, the human demons were about to win. The Eastern Emperor's heroic spirits were all killed. The gates of hell were also shattered. Not a single snake was left. The human demons were even cheering loudly. Black Pearl and Qi Yaoguang were also not in the mood to continue fighting. But at this moment, a terrifying explosion rang out. With the original mirror as the center, it swept across a radius of thousands of meters. Everywhere it passed, corpses lay on the ground. Other than the Black Barbarian and about 1,000 human demons who were further away, the rest of the Goron demons, giant demons, and human demons were basically wiped out. Of course, the two fighting in the sky were also fine. Ling Xiao fell to the ground. Zi Yuan had long been sucked dry of her blood essence. At this moment, the demon suppressing Black Blood Pearl was still devouring the blood on the ground. This blood had already turned into a river. With the blood of a strong person like Zi Yuan, it actually formed a pill that was even larger than the previous demon Black Blood Pill. At a glance, the effect was much stronger. In any case, Ling Xiao wasn't going to get up. He took the healing pill and allowed his body to recover on its own. The reason why he didn't use life, backtrack, and rebirth from the ashes. Of course, it was because he didn't need them for the time being. Those two abilities were used to save his life. They weren't things that he could use to fight whenever he encountered something. Kill him. The Black Barbarian got up from the ground. Although he was seriously injured, he still had the ability to fight. The 1,000 or so human demons outside were also lightly injured. After all, the more the energy spread out, the smaller it became. They couldn't kill all the demons. End of this chapter. Chapter 41-47. Have you forgotten my array? Ling Xiao sneered in the face of the demonic creatures that surrounded him. Although his body couldn't move, there was no problem in activating the array. Terrifying lightning fell like a torrential rain. The pitiful demons were killed one by one, and their blood once again merged into the demon-suppressing black blood bead. Even Emo Hongru and Throwing Dagger, hidden in the sky, were implicated. In addition to the continuous bloodthirsty plague, 9-snake poison domain, and plague bone dissolving formation. This caused them to unknowingly weaken. They were actually unable to withstand this torrential rain of lightning. Countless demons died, and only a few people were left. Black Barbarian had completely lost his fighting strength. Although Emo Hongru and Throwing Dagger Hidden were powerful, Black Pearl and Qi Yaoguang took the opportunity to attack. Both of them were seriously injured. The dignified human devil's nest, under Ling Xiao's scheme, had finally fallen into a state of extinction. However, just as Black Pearl and Qi Yaoguang were about to kill the murderous demon, suddenly an extremely terrifying aura was released from the military camp. Black demon Qi covered the sky and earth. It transformed into all kinds of strange shapes, not only protecting Emo Hongru and the other demons. Moreover, it also revealed a terrifying killing intent, forcing Black Pearl and Qi Yaoguang to retreat. Black Pearl and Qi Yaoguang stood in front of Ling Xiao, releasing their auras to repel the demon Qi. Protect Ling Xiao. Other than the Demon Emperor, I haven't seen such a courageous human warrior in a long time. You actually dared to barge into my human devil branch and kill so many of my people. What punishment do you deserve? The demon Qi that filled the sky finally retracted. Then it condensed into a figure. This figure was somewhat illusory, but one could clearly see its appearance. A tall body about 3 meters tall, 2 horns on his head, 2 wings on his back. His eyes were scarlet red, and his long hair fluttered in the wind. Dressed in black armor, he was exceptionally ferocious and handsome, especially those scarlet eyes. They were like a pool of blood, causing people to tremble. "Human Devil King," Black Pearl exclaimed. "Weren't you already killed by the Demon Emperor?" The one who appeared in front of him was the Human Devil King. However, it wasn't his main body, but just a clone. Human Devil Kings were the kings of the human devil lineage in the Heavenly Devil Ghost region. However, they are much more powerful than the Devil Kings, and even surpass the Devil Venerables. He was second only to the Devil Emperor. The instant the Human Devil King clone appeared, Black Pearl and Qi Yaoguang actually knelt on the ground with a plop. The violent pressure made them unable to resist at all. It was too terrifying. This was just a clone, but it had such a terrifying aura. On the contrary, it was Ling Xiao who performed better than them. The 3 mouthfuls of divine wine had replenished his true essence, qi, blood, and energy. He stood up, looked at the phantom of the human Devil King, and sneered. The dignified human Devil King is actually just a scoundrel. What's wrong with killing you, human demons? If they didn't provoke us, why would we need to kill them? Black Pearl and Qi Yaoguang looked at Ling Xiao in surprise. This young man, who was weaker than them, had such terrifying willpower. He didn't even fear the aura of a human Devil King. In this world, what else could cause his expression to change? Ha 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 ha. The human Devil King let out a wild laugh. You're just a peak 6 divine core trash. How dare you boast in front of me? Even the Devil Kings can't kill me. You little bastards still want to destroy my demonic human clan? If I don't kill all of you today, I won't have the face to continue living in this world. Along with a furious roar, a frightening force suddenly descended from the sky. Bang! In an instant, Ling Xiao felt as if a huge mountain had fallen down from the sky, pressing down on his back. Both of his legs bent, as if they were about to break. Black Pearl and Qi Yaoguang were lying on the ground, unable to stand up. The ground cracked like a spider web, spreading out in all directions. The ground even started to collapse. It was a spectacular and shocking scene. Ling Xiao suddenly let out a furious roar, and the universe of Tyrant appeared behind his back. It was as if his tiny body was supported by the entire universe. He would never fall again. His body unleashed the aura of a human king. Human Devil King and human king. Although there was only a difference of 1 word, but the difference was like heaven and earth. If the human king was still alive, he would be able to destroy the human Devil King with a single finger. What? The human Devil King was shocked. The universe of Tyrant's aura and the human king's aura appeared at the same time. It actually made him feel fear. This fear was even more frightening than when he fought the Devil Kings. How could this be? He wasn't the only one shocked. Qi Yaoguang and Black Pearl were also shocked. The human Devil King's fear was like the mountains and seas, simply impossible to resist. Ling Xiao was actually able to unleash an even more frightening aura. This didn't make sense. Brat, who are you? Why don't you take me as your master? I can let you become a true elite, and you can even inherit my legacy. In the future, when the sky demons descend upon the human world again, you will be the human king. The human Devil King wanted to take him as his disciple. This was because the aptitude that Ling Xiao displayed was simply too shocking. If he couldn't take this brat as his disciple, it would be too much of a waste. Ridiculous! You can't even control your own fate. This Devil King forced you to live in fear, and you still want to take me as your disciple? Let me tell you, this young master's master is 1,000 times, no, 10,000 times stronger than you, Ling Xiao said with disdain. You will definitely take me as your master, but wait for me to kill these 2 women first. Then I will capture you alive. After being tortured day and night, I don't believe you won't lower your head. The human Devil King wasn't angry, and he seemed to be very satisfied with Ling Xiao. He was looking forward to taking Ling Xiao as his disciple. You too, enter the Dongsheng Emperor Ring. Ling Xiao waved his hand and kept Black Pearl and Qi Yaoguang. Although these 2 were powerful, they couldn't move under the pressure of the human Devil King's clone. Not to mention fighting. He could only put them back. Seeing this scene, the human Devil King was even more interested in Ling Xiao. I didn't expect you to have such a treasure. Dongsheng Emperor Ring? How nostalgic. Back then, I fought with the Dongsheng Ancient Emperor. Although it was a draw, that old thing was indeed powerful. It's a pity that he didn't live as long as me, so his strength can't compare to mine. Since you are so stubborn, I will capture you first. Human Devil swallowing Heaven's sleeve. While speaking, the human Devil King's clone suddenly flung his sleeve. In that instant, the entire small world lost all light. Nothing could be seen. Even the eyes of martial artists couldn't see through this terrifying darkness. Although martial artists could see in the dark, it was because there was still light in the dark. It was just that it was weaker. But after this human devil, swallowing heaven's sleeve flung, all the light was absorbed. It was simply impossible to see anything. Ling Xiao felt that this human devil swallowing heaven's sleeve was really able to contain heaven and earth. It was able to swallow everything. This kind of terrifying power was truly frightening. End of chapter. Chapter 41-48. Scoff. Do you think a small human demon swallowing heaven's sleeve can contain my universe tyrant? Qi Niming. I will support the light for you. You fight. Ling Xiao snorted coldly as he focused on controlling the tyrant martial soul. Qi Niming flew out from the Dongsheng Emperor Ring. People who go against fate are like dragons and phoenixes, breaking the dawn of the heavens. Only I am supreme. Kill! With the support of the universe tyrant, Qi Niming could see everything. The human demon king's human demon, swallowing heaven's sleeve, had no effect. Kaboom! An extremely bright sword light tore through the darkness. It chased away Yongya. Qi Niming floated in midair and stood in front of Ling Xiao. I can only fight for 3 minutes. Any longer, and I won't be able to. Think of a way to retreat. Qi Niming transmitted his voice. 3 minutes is enough. That human demon king was injured by the demon emperor, and his strength was greatly reduced. Furthermore, this is only a clone. He might not be your match. Let's try it first. If not, I have a way to escape. Ling Xiao was very calm. That human demon king frowned and was a bit wary. Hongru, you guys leave first. The reason why he made such a decision was because he had no confidence in defeating Qi Niming. Kill! Qi Niming did not waste time. He did not have enough time, so he charged over. The sword light was like lightning as it stabbed towards the human demon king. The human demon king only had the ability to dodge and defend. He couldn't even counterattack. Mo Hongru and throwing knife Zong brought Black Barbarian and the remaining demons and disappeared into the underground world. Ling Xiao did not chase after them. Although Mo Hongru and throwing knife Zong were heavily injured, they were not people he could deal with. As for Qi Yaoguang and Black Pearl, their bones were broken and they could only heal. They could not chase after them. Of course, he could not chase after them. However, Ling Xiao did not let go of the treasures in the human demon nest. He searched for a long time and did not find the demonic Sirius. However, he found a demonic heart and many demon race martial arts that he did not have time to take away, as well as 100 top-grade spirit stones. Ling Xiao said it all. Demon race martial arts was just a method of using demonic power. There was no difference between good and evil. He could still use it when he brought it back. The heart of the heavenly demon was very powerful. By the time his physical body reached the peak of 8th Order Emperor Realm, he had consumed the heavenly devil Lightning Jade. Then he could use the heart of the heavenly demon to cultivate the true heavenly demon black tortoise body. That was a peak 9th Order Emperor Realm body refining technique. Ling Xiao put it away. The entire process took less than a minute. The battle outside was still ongoing. Heavenly Devil destroys immortals, earth-shattering. With a roar, the human Devil King Avatar's hands turned into huge demonic claws that grabbed at Qi Niming. Qi Niming's sword Qi was crushed. Then it covered Qi Niming's body. He wanted to crush Qi Niming into pieces. Time is like a sword. I will raise my sword and laugh at the heavens. Qi Niming revealed a cold smile. The long sword in his hand turned into a huge sword Qi and stabbed forward. It pierced towards the 2 huge devil claws, even though he had yet to fully recover from his injuries. However, after the incident with the demonic blood palm, he miraculously achieved a breakthrough. He was now a late 9th divine core warrior. It was on the same level as the ghost sword. Crack! The 2 devil claws were torn apart. However, the sword Qi didn't stop there. It continued piercing towards the human Devil King's avatar. Human Devil King, you're just a tiny avatar and you're trying to do evil? Don't you think you're underestimating us, human warriors? Kill. Bang. The Human Devil King's avatar suddenly disappeared. That guy actually ran away. Because he knew he wasn't Chi Niming's match, he chose to run away. Otherwise, even if his avatar was destroyed, his true body would still be severely injured. The Human Devil King wasn't stupid. Ling Xiao, I've completed my mission. I'm going back to rest. Chi Niming had been fighting for more than a minute, but he was already exhausted. There was nothing he could do about it. He had just recovered, and his body was extremely weak. Ling Xiao nodded his head. Then he put Chi Niming into the Dongsheng Emperor Ring. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly saw a storage ring on the ground. Isn't this that woman Zi Yuan's storage ring? Ling Xiao smiled. Then he put away the storage ring and quickly left the underground world. Since there was no demonic epiphyllum, and he had already obtained the other treasures, there was no need to continue wasting time. Otherwise, if the Human Devil King's avatar returned, he wouldn't be able to provoke it. After exiting the teleportation gate, Ling Xiao set up a simple formation to seal it. Anyway, he had the formation refining stone, so it wasn't complicated. After sealing it, it wouldn't be so easy for the Human Devil King to come out. After that, he left the cave. When he was outside, Ling Xiao saw that there was no one around. Then he took out Zi Yuan's storage ring and began to study it. There were some high-grade spirit stones inside. However, what surprised him was that there were a few talismans. The most amazing thing was that these talismans were all divine-grade, Heavenly King artifact talismans. During the battle with Zi Yuan, this woman was intimidated by the Heavenly Tyrant Martial Spirit and didn't have time to use these talismans. There were a total of 3 talismans. The first one was called the Demonic Flame Talisman. When it was released, it would release a terrifying demonic flame. No warriors below the extreme realm of Kor dared to fight against it. They could only run away. The second talisman was called the 7 Slaughter Talisman. When it was released, it would release poisonous bugs. Even Heavenly Kor warriors would feel terrible if they were bitten, and those with weaker cultivation would die on the spot. The third talisman was called the 10 Swords Talisman. It required 10 swords to be used together, and the quality of the swords had to be at least common grade Heavenly King artifact. If not, the effect would be greatly reduced. As long as the conditions were met, the better the quality of the swords, the more powerful they would be. If there were 10 divine grade Heavenly King artifacts, it would be normal for them to instantly kill a peak Heavenly Core warrior. Even an extreme realm Core warrior would be killed. What a powerful talisman. Too bad, this talisman can only be used 3 times. Even if I strengthen it, I can only use it 6 times at most. Ling Xiao couldn't help but sigh. A treasure like this, he would feel the pain of using it just once. But if he didn't use it, he wouldn't be able to do it. The most important thing was these things could save his life. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly saw a man walking towards him from the darkness. His speed was very fast. Obviously, he had noticed him. In an instant, he arrived in front of Jiang Qin. This man was wearing a white battle robe, and he looked quite handsome. Wasn't he Yang Chu from the Yang family? Yang Chu's cultivation was at the early Heavenly Core realm. What a headache! With Ling Xiao's current cultivation, he would have to use the martial soul of Tyrant to deal with a warrior like this, just like how he dealt with Zi Yuan. But he suddenly looked at the talisman in his hand, and an idea came to his mind. Let's test out the power of this talisman first. Kid, hurry up and give me the talisman in your hand, or else I'll kill you today. Yang Chu felt very lucky. Because his cultivation was weaker than Yu Feng, Yu Chen, and Yang Zhan, he was left behind along with the woman in green, Yuan Meng, and Xue Feiqi. Along the way, they were ambushed by the blood turtle dove and the human devils. As a result, they were separated. Who would have thought that they would run into Ling Xiao? Genius 1, second, remember the site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 40, 149. Yang Chu felt lucky. Because he had found Ling Xiao, the man they had been chasing for a long time. Besides, Ling Xiao had a few talismans with him, and he was very jealous of them. Although Ling Xiao's performance in the battle with the flying flaming lion was very brave, but Yang Chu had seen it. Besides his speed, Ling Xiao didn't have any other abilities. Besides, it seemed like Ling Xiao had just fought a battle, and his aura wasn't strong enough. He should only have 70% of his strength left. If he was afraid of this Ling Xiao, then Yang Chu, an early heavenly core warrior, wouldn't be worthy of his title. Hee. Are you trying to compare who has a bigger face? You think you can have such good stuff just because you want it? Who do you think you are? The Golden Emperor? The Eternal Emperor? Or the Devil Emperor? Ling Xiao looked at Yang Chu with disdain. If it was Yang Zhan, he might be more worried. After all, Yang Zhan was a perfect heavenly core warrior. Basically, if he wanted to defeat Yang Zhan, it would take a miracle. But Yang Chu couldn't. Although it was difficult to defeat Yang Chu, it wasn't impossible. Ling Xiao immediately transformed into the peerless heavenly mouse. Strategically speaking, he was looking down on his enemy. But tactically speaking, he still had to pay attention to his enemy and never underestimate him. If he failed miserably, it would be a great loss of face. Not only would he lose face, he might even die. Brat, how dare you not listen to me? Yang Chu furrowed his brows. He knew Ling Xiao had a bad temper, and he had seen it in the puppet city. But he didn't expect this brat to be so unreasonable. Yang Zhan had directly rejected his request. Yang Chu's expression became ferocious. It looked like if he didn't use some tricks, he would be looked down upon by this brat. Forget it. In any case, Senior Apprentice Brother Yufeng said that you must die. Today I'll just kill you. Do you really think you can defeat me, a heavenly core warrior, with just a few divine-grade, heavenly king-tier talismans? You really don't take me seriously. While speaking, Yang Chu circulated his energy. A martial soul appeared behind his back. It was a huge white sheep. The white sheep's fur was as clean as white jade. However, the power it exuded was also very frightening. Whoosh! The instant Yang Chu released his martial soul, he suddenly made his move. 7 strange, cloud-like shock waves were released. He flew towards Ling Xiao. Wherever the cloud passed, the air was shaken and scattered, producing thunderous booms. The Thunder Mountain was originally pitch black and filled with lightning. However, at that moment, the sky had turned white. Like white jade, it covered an area of several hundred meters. The pitch-black night sky turned into a dazzling white. Ling Xiao frowned. In the analysis of the Tai Chi Eye, the attack that Yang Chu had released was a very unique light energy. It was a martial art that the Yang family had developed using their own martial souls. It was called the White Jade 9 Smelting Demonic Light. This martial art was originally a peak 8th level Emperor class martial art. What Yang Chu learned was not complete. However, its power was not weak at all. Bang, bang, bang. Wherever the demonic light passed, the scene was extremely shocking. Ling Xiao released Invincible Vajra to block it. The demonic light kept colliding, producing a strange sound like metal clashing. It really made Ling Xiao's qi and blood churn, making him very uncomfortable. After holding on for more than 10 minutes, cracks appeared on Invincible Vajra. However, the demonic light was still tough. Yang Chu, I can't be bothered to argue with you when the human demon is causing trouble. Now you'd better scram. Perhaps I can spare your life. After all, we work together in the southern puppet city. I don't want to kill you. Don't force me. Ling Xiao said this just to make Yang Chu underestimate him. He did not expect Yang Chu to accept this. What an idiotic argument. As expected, Yang Chu laughed disdainfully. Do you know how stupid you are? Why talk about cooperation with me? Are you worthy? Although our Yang family has joined the Yu family, we are now the second largest family in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. You, a reptilian existence. Are you worthy of cooperating with me? Your defensive ability is not bad, but unfortunately it's useless in front of me. If you're obedient and hand over those 3 talismans, I can let you go. Yang Chu was also unwilling to fight to the death with Ling Xiao, because he did not have much of a chance of winning. Once they started fighting, whether they could win or not was still an unknown. That's impossible. Ling Xiao shook his head. In that case, Ares capture. Yang Chu snorted and directly attacked. Since it did not make sense, he could only kill Ling Xiao. With a cold snort, the 9 demonic lights merged into one, turning into a giant white hand that slapped down at Ling Xiao. This was to directly smash Ling Xiao into a meat patty. At that moment, Ling Xiao could feel a holy power descending from the sky. It was trying to invade his body. It pressed down on him until he could not breathe. However, he was not even afraid of the human demon king's aura. So how could he be afraid of a mere Yang Chu's aura? He snorted coldly. He directly blasted a palm toward the sky. Heaven-covering palm. The heaven-covering palm collided with the giant hand, condensed from demonic light, and actually shattered the giant hand. It was a fight of mutual destruction. What? Yang Chu was stunned for a moment. He did not expect Ling Xiao to know such a terrifying martial skill. This heaven-covering palm was extremely brilliant. It was a pity that Ling Xiao's cultivation was too weak. Otherwise, in this collision, he would definitely be the one at a disadvantage. I don't believe that I can't kill you. Yang Chu was ruthless and crazily attacked. Ling Xiao retreated as he fought. Because fighting outside was too eye-catching, he retreated into the cave. They fought in the narrow tunnel. In this way, Yang Chu's advantage would be reduced, and his advantage would be greatly increased. Now, the strength of his physical body had reached the mid-8th level of the Emperor realm. It was much stronger than before. If it was just a head-on collision, he would not lose to Yang Chu. It was indeed much easier than when he fought with Ziyuan. It was really because of the stronger, black, tortoise divine body. Shadow Warrior. In the next moment, Ling Xiao passed through Yang Chu, came to the direction of the cave entrance, and changed positions with Yang Chu. The other side was sealed by his formation, and this side was guarded by him. It was as if Yang Chu was sealed in a sealed space. Hee, I'll give you something fun. The reason why Ling Xiao created this kind of space was naturally to test the power of the spirit talismans that he had just obtained. If he did not use the spirit talismans, no matter how powerful they were useless. Therefore, when he could use them, he would definitely not be stingy. Moreover, from using them, he could also study the use of these spirit talismans. In fact, as mentioned before, the spirit talismans of the Black Tortoise continent were completely different from those of the immortal Court continent. This thing was the result of the ingenious combination of formations and formations. If one understood formations, then after understanding them, as long as they got the materials, they could make it themselves. Let's start with a demonic flame talisman. Ling Xiao suddenly pinched the demonic flame talisman with 2 fingers and activated his vital essence. A terrifying jade-green demonic flame spewed out and turned into a fire snake that pounced toward Yang Chu. Yang Chu's expression changed, and he hurriedly activated the demonic light to block. Genius 1. Second, remember the site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 4150. The devilish light and devilish flames were fighting in the tunnel. A sizzling sound could be heard, and it was extremely uncomfortable. Next, it's time to use this 7 slaughter talisman. To make this 7 slaughter talisman, besides knowing how to use formations, there were still 7 other poisons. He also needed to collect 7 types of poisonous substances. There was no limit, but they had to be poisonous. Furthermore, the stronger the poison, the more ferocious the attack. This 7 slaughter talisman contained the rainbow poisonous snake, witchcraft spider, self-exploding ant, lightning venomous bee, bloodthirsty mosquito, flying golden silkworm, and virus moth. These 7 poisons before they were made into the 7 slaughter talisman. Each of them had the strength of a peak 7th divine core warrior. When they were gathered together, they would work together with the formation. Not only were they invulnerable to fire and water, they were also extremely poisonous. Once bitten, even a heavenly core warrior would be in a terrible situation. Using the same method, Ling Xiao activated the talisman. From within the talisman, a strange cry could be heard. Suddenly, a group of frightening poisonous snakes flew out from the talisman. These poisonous snakes were all rainbow-colored, and they even had rainbow-colored wings on their backs. They looked like flying snakes. They had triangular eyes, ferocious and cruel. They turned into a rainbow-colored mist and leapt towards Yang Chu. Yang Chu's attention was attracted by the devilish flames, so he didn't notice what was happening. The rainbow poisonous snake was extremely frightening. They ate all kinds of poisonous creatures in the world. Then they would gather in their bodies. Even if they were eaten by other demon beasts, they would release their poisonous creatures before they died, and they would die together with the demon beasts. If Yang Chu was stronger and had reached the peak heavenly core realm, these rainbow poisonous snakes might not be able to do anything to him. However, Yang Chu was just an early heavenly core warrior. His white jade 9, smelting demonic light, couldn't hurt the rainbow poisonous snake. The rainbow poisonous snake went through the devilish flames and entered the devilish light. Its body started to change, but it wasn't destroyed by the devilish light. Immediately after, another group of poisonous bugs flew out. These were the frightening, self-exploding ants. They also had a pair of strange, transparent wings. Their bodies were red. Their poison was weaker than the rainbow poisonous snake, but the scariest thing about them was that they could explode. Although they were small, once they exploded, the effect was similar to that of a peak Earth core warrior exploding his own core. After exploding, the poisons poisoned to kill them all. It was suffocating. Following closely behind the self-destructing ants were the lightning, venomous wasps. The advantage of the lightning venom bee was its speed. Their poison was also a lightning toxin that could paralyze people instantly. It was very small. The poisonous needle was very conspicuous. There were even blue electric currents flashing on it. It looked very shocking. Behind them was a group of blood-sucking, poisonous mosquitoes. The effect of the bloodthirsty killer mosquitoes was almost identical to Ling Xiao's bloodthirsty plague. It was just that it was bigger. Therefore, the direct damage would be even more terrifying. The bloodthirsty killer mosquito's entire body was red like blood jade. They were basically the size of a fingernail. Feeling that long straw made people shudder. It was said that the toughness of the bloodthirsty killer mosquito straw was equivalent to a divine grade heavenly king artifact. He could become even stronger the day after tomorrow. Boom! Just as the bloodthirsty killer mosquitoes flew out, a terrifying explosion suddenly occurred over there. It was the self-destructing ants. Ling Xiao looked up and saw that the suicide bomb ants had already reached the center of the magic light and exploded one after another. The demonic light was scattered by the explosion. Terrifying indeed. Ling Xiao sucked in a breath of cold air. Fortunately, Ziyuan didn't have time to use this thing to deal with him at that time. Otherwise, he would definitely have a headache. Yang Chu originally felt that the situation wasn't right. Ling Xiao lured him into this cave, but he didn't continue to escape. He didn't escape out of the cave either. Instead, he suddenly attacked and released the demonic flame talisman. Although this demonic flame talisman was powerful, he was confident that he could easily resist it with his white jade 9 smelting demonic light. But what he never expected was Ling Xiao actually thought that the demonic flame talisman wasn't ruthless enough. He actually released the 7-kill talisman. Within the 7-kill talisman, the 7-colored poisonous snake was the first to arrive. The suicide bomb ants followed, but they flew slower. The lightning poisonous bee arrived first. At this time, Yang Chu felt that something was wrong. He also took out a spirit talisman and prepared to deal with it. But at this moment, the suicide bomb ants were approaching. All of a sudden, a terrifying roar erupted. Not only did the explosion cause the demonic light to collapse, but it also allowed the demonic flames to enter and burn the spirit talisman in his hand. He didn't have time to feel sorry. This was because he had encountered a very serious problem. He had no choice but to run deeper into the cave. These poisonous insects were flying at a very slow speed. Aside from the lightning poisonous bee, he didn't believe that anything could catch up to him. The cave looked very long, and it should extend all the way to the inside. There should be a lot of space inside as well. Therefore, he had no reason to be afraid. Idiot! Ling Xiao sneered. Then he chased after Yang Chu. Right at this moment, he heard Yang Chu's miserable scream. There was indeed a portal there, but it was sealed by Ling Xiao. How was he going to get out? Ling Xiao, I'm from the Yang family. If you dare to kill me, you'll die a horrible death. Yang Chu roared out. He knew he was at the end of his rope. He crazily circulated his true yuan and attacked. But right at this moment, all 7 poisonous insects had been released, and they were attacking him, together with the demonic flames. There was no way he could fight them alone. Ling Xiao knew that there was no need for him to fight anymore. Using these 2 spirit talismans together, killing an early heavenly core warrior wasn't a problem at all. Of course, you had to have these spirit talismans first, and you had to have enough true yuan to activate them. All right, I won't kill you, as long as you let me go. These 3 spirit talismans are yours. Also, I'll give you some of the spirit stones in my storage ring. What do you think? Yang Chu was basically begging for mercy. But even though he was begging for mercy, this guy was still acting like he was some big shot. Was he so used to acting tough that he couldn't change his habit of begging for mercy? Perhaps others would fall for this trick, but Ling Xiao didn't. If you hadn't attacked me, I would have kept your life. But too bad, you wanted to kill me and take away my spirit talismans. How could I let anyone know about this? That Yang Zhan is pretty strong. I'm no match for him. Therefore, you should just die obediently. Ling Xiao laughed disdainfully. As for the things in your storage ring, don't worry, after you die, I'll take them myself. There's no need to trouble you. No. Another miserable scream sounded out. Some poisonous insects had bitten Yang Chu. Yang Chu let out a miserable scream. After a few moments, he was killed by the poisonous insects. Return. The spirit talisman flashed, and all the poisonous insects returned to their original positions. Ling Xiao walked over and took away Yang Chu's storage ring. There were a lot of spirit stones in Yang Chu's storage ring, and they were all upper-rank spirit stones. There were about 1 million of them. There weren't any martial skill manuals. What a disappointment. No wonder this guy wanted to bribe him with spirit stones. The key was that there was nothing else. Perhaps all the people who entered the Fengdu Devil Forest had put the best things in their homes. Only a demonic human expert's storage ring would have such good stuff. What a pity. Genius 1, second, remember the site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 4151. After killing Yang Chu, Ling Xiao continued to walk up the Thunder Mountain. He passed through the pitch-black fog area. Finally, he felt that the environment seemed to have become a little more comfortable. He had a feeling that the higher he went, the safer it would be. It was probably because the Western Puppet City had set up an array formation to block the lightning. However, after the environment became clear, his vision became wider. He felt as if he was in the clouds. That kind of situation was really like becoming an immortal. People who practiced martial arts also dreamed of becoming immortals and saints. Ultimately, this was the reason why one practiced martial arts. The plants here were even taller than the ones he had encountered before, piercing through the clouds. The diameter alone was estimated to be more than 10 meters. Moreover, it was filled with electric currents, making people not dare to touch it casually. Ever since he saw the human demon, Ling Xiao felt that this trip to Fengdu Demon Forest would not be so smooth. The human demons that he had killed before were definitely not all of them. Besides, there were not only human demons here. Didn't they encounter a beast tide in the southern puppet city not long ago? Was the beast tide really just an accident? That might not be the case. Rumor had it that the demon race of the savage beast race was best at communicating with demon beasts and controlling them. Even the human demon had been seen. Who could be sure that there were no demon race here? In any case, even though there was no danger now, he still had to be careful. Who knew what would happen the next time they met? He didn't know how many of the hundreds of thousands of warriors were left. In any case, many must have died. Just the battle of the southern puppet city alone left more than 20,000 lives. The test of the demonic Sirius flower in Fendu Demon Forest was like a trial deliberately arranged by the demon emperor. Sigh, I hope it's just a trial. If the appearance of the human demon was an accident, then it would be really troublesome. There would definitely be more troublesome things. It would be even more terrifying than the previous beast tide, even more terrifying than the human demon. The western puppet city might become the final battle of Fendu Demon Forest. Only 1/10 of the warriors would be able to reach there. To be on the safe side, Ling Xiao still entered the shadow warrior form and quietly advanced. His speed was neither fast nor slow. If he was too fast, it would be easy to ignore some dangers. If he was too slow, it would be terrible if others snatched the demonic Sirius flower away. Along the way, he saw many beasts. However, they all avoided him. He didn't like meaningless battles. After walking for a while, he looked up. He still couldn't see the top of the Thunder Mountain. According to his estimation, he had only walked 1/3 of the way until now. The height of the Thunder Mountain was truly astonishing. Of course, the most important thing was that the uphill road was not easy to walk. Many roads had to be taken. This also increased the travel time imperceptibly. Along the way, he witnessed with his own eyes a group of people being besieged by a group of demonic beasts. In the end, all of them died tragically. However, he did not make a move. The reason was simple. It had nothing to do with him. Moreover, those people were all members of the Yu family. Saving one of them was equivalent to having one more enemy. This was different from the beast tide. Suddenly he stopped. He came out of the shadow warrior form. It was not that he was willing to do so, but there was a very special existence here. Things that were hidden in the dark would reveal their true forms. Ling Xiao frowned, knowing that he might be in trouble. However, since he was already here, it was impossible for him not to move forward. Suddenly, he saw a person screaming and rushing over. A moment later, the scream turned into an angry roar. He pounced towards Ling Xiao as if he had gone mad. Ling Xiao recognized this person. It was Yang Mao. In the Yang family, he was considered a young master. Unfortunately, his cultivation was only at the peak 7th divine core realm. This guy had plotted against the Black Pearl and had been following Ghost Sword. Since he was here, it meant that Ghost Sword had appeared as well. "Save me! Save me!" Yang Mao shouted as he ran over. Ling Xiao felt strange. This guy's expression seemed to be constantly changing. One moment he was angry, as if he wanted to kill him. The next moment he was in pain, as if he was begging him to save his life. "Brotherling, be careful. This guy must have encountered the cannibal bees." Qi Niming hurriedly shouted. Before Qi Niming's voice could even land, Ling Xiao had already stabbed out with his sword. Yang Mao's head was pierced through. A yellow light flew out from his head. It was extremely fast, and it pounced towards Ling Xiao. "Burn!" Terrifying flames suddenly appeared on the surface of Ling Xiao's body. As soon as the yellow light touched his skin, it was instantly burned to ashes. We have to deal with Yang Mao's body as well. Otherwise, the larvae of the cannibal bees will control this body and turn it into a terrifying walking corpse. It will go and harm other people. Qi Niming hurriedly said. Ling Xiao didn't know how terrifying the cannibal bees were, but seeing how nervous Qi Niming was, he didn't dare to be careless. Just as he was about to make a move, suddenly a sword came from the side. A man stood in front of Ling Xiao. He roared, "How dare you kill a warrior of the Yang family? You're finished!" Before Ling Xiao could say anything, Yang Mao, who had fallen to the ground, suddenly stood up. He bit the man who claimed to be a warrior of the Yang family. Ling Xiao's Tai Chi eye caught a strange scene. White larvae crawled out from Yang Mao's body and then drilled into the warrior's body. "Ah!" The man screamed. After a brief moment, his eyes lost their luster. So terrifying. This was something that was hard to explain, and it was the most terrifying thing. Ling Xiao furrowed his brows. Then he immediately threw out a flame and burned it. But too bad, it only burned one of them. As for Yang Mao, he actually ran away at an incredible speed, running forward. Ling Xiao wanted to chase after him, but he was stopped by a warrior who walked out from the bushes. "Brother, don't go to your death. If you keep walking forward, you will reach the territory of the cannibal bees. Many people have had their brains sucked dry by the cannibal bees, and their bodies have been controlled, turning them into mindless walking corpses. Do you want to be like them too?" This was a warrior in his 40s, and his cultivation base was at the peak 6th divine core realm. He wasn't strong, but he was very experienced. His caution and experience allowed him to survive, and he was able to reach this place. Cannibal bees, are they really so terrifying? Ling Xiao's expression turned ugly. If this was the case, didn't that mean he wouldn't be able to move forward anymore? Terrifying, of course they're terrifying. Although those cannibal bees haven't existed for a long time. I heard that it was the experiments of the human devils that caused them to mutate. That's why these monsters were born. Compared to the legendary ancient creatures, they are even more terrifying. That's why we call them evolved creatures. Qi Niming explained. But I can't just stop here. Maybe the heavenly devil epiphyllum is still in the western puppet city. What others can't do, Ling Xiao can. Ling Xiao thought for a moment. Considering his advantages, he felt like he could give it a try. He couldn't be so scared that he couldn't move just because of a few words from someone. It would be too embarrassing. "Brother, what are you doing?" The warrior who spoke just now asked. "We're going to the western puppet city." Chapter 4152. Although the frightening cannibal bees had terrified many people, even Ling Xiao was a little scared of them. But being scared didn't mean he was scared. It didn't mean he was going to back off. He raised his foot and walked forward with determination. The further he walked, the more people he met. There were people from their teens to their 40s. After the first transition, people in this age group were called teenagers. In fact, Ling Xiao couldn't be considered a teenager anymore. He was a teenager in the truest sense. Those under 50 years old were called teenagers. After all, after entering the cycle of reincarnation, a warrior's lifespan would increase to 500 years. Although there were a lot of rumors in the streets, but this was an official record, so it shouldn't be bad. Most of the people Ling Xiao met stopped where they were and didn't dare to walk any further. Looking at the huge flower field in front of them, their expressions were ugly. The flower field was more than 1,000 acres in size. One had to walk at least 1 mile to get out of here. There were also people walking through the flower field. But from time to time, there would be screams that could freeze one's heart. If I knew there was such a monster, I wouldn't have come here to compete for the heavenly devil epiphyllum. What does that have to do with me? Sigh. I'm so regretful. Now that I'm stuck here, I can't move forward or backward. This is so depressing. In order to pass through this flower field, one has to be at least a late Earth core warrior. And that's just the basic requirement. If one only cultivates and has no combat experience, he will still die. Oi, that idiot is going to die. Hee. Peak 6 divine core warrior, he's weaker than me. I really don't know what he's going to do. Idiot. There will be a good show to watch later. The people who were talking couldn't help but be stunned when they saw Ling Xiao walking in front. They had seen people who were courting death, but they had never seen someone who was courting death like this. Ling Xiao laughed with disdain. A bunch of ants. How could they understand the thoughts of a hawk? He continued to walk forward, treating those taunts as nothing more than dog barks. In front of him was the flower field. There was nothing special about this flower field. It wasn't as weird as the trees from before. They all looked like ordinary flowers. There were all kinds of flowers. But the more this is the case, the more terrifying the cannibal bees are. That tiny bee was actually able to frighten a powerful divine core warrior to the point that he didn't dare approach it. The look of the cannibal bees is not fear. It was exactly the same as a normal bee. However, the cute little bee had a terrifying characteristic. It could turn powerful human warriors into walking corpses, become their nourishment. The number of the cannibal bees is huge. At a glance, the whole flower field is full of them. There's basically no gap for you to pass through, although most of the warriors were blocked by the cannibal bees. However, these hundreds of thousands of martial artists were all geniuses of the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. Naturally, they would not be stopped by this little cannibal bees. Although the cannibal bees were frightening, their strength was at most at the early 7th Divine Core Realm. All of them combined could unleash a combat strength equivalent to a late 7th Divine Core Warrior. As long as it was done properly, even a late 7th Divine Core Warrior would be able to pass this test. Even an early 7th Divine Core Warrior with a special martial soul or martial skill would be able to pass the test. As for the warriors above the 8th Divine Core Realm, those cannibal bees wouldn't even dare touch them. They would just avoid them. Logically speaking, Yang Mao's strength wasn't weak, and he should be able to pass this test. But too bad he only had a cultivation base and no combat experience. His performance was even worse than many early 7th Divine Core Warriors. In the end, he was hit by the cannibal bees and became a walking corpse, a puppet of the cannibal bees. Many people passed by. Many people died. This was a cruel test. This Fiend Emperor was also really ruthless enough. In order to select the most outstanding young geniuses, countless lives had to be sacrificed. Luckily, humans had a pretty good reproductive ability. If not, humans would have gone extinct a long time ago. Lightly shaking his head, Ling Xiao stepped into the flower field. Immediately, a group of cannibal bees leapt towards him. That guy really jumped in. TSK, 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 there really is someone who isn't afraid of death. It's just another joke. No one thought Ling Xiao would succeed. After all, Ling Xiao was only at the peak 6th Divine Core Realm. In these people's eyes, he was trash. Maybe he has some kind of treasure. Bullshit. He's not from the Yu family, the Yang family, or the 3 sections. What kind of treasure does he have that can stop these frightening cannibal bees? I've seen a few warriors from the Yu family pass the test with the help of talismans or treasures. That's what a real big family is like. Ling Xiao didn't hear any of these discussions. Right now, there was only one thought in his mind. That was to arrive at Puppet City, find the heavenly devil epiphyllum, and save Ling Jiaojiao. The swarm of cannibal bees was charging towards him. Ling Xiao sneered. Then, the heavenly flame started burning on his body. According to his deduction, the reason why the cannibal bees wouldn't attack an 8th Divine Core Warrior was because there was no hope for him. In the end, he might even lose his life. His body was a mid-8th Order Emperor, the Black Tortoise Divine Body. He was stronger than almost all mid-8th Divine Core Warriors. Naturally, he wasn't afraid of the cannibal bees' attack. But just to be safe, he unleashed the heavenly flame to burn these cannibal bees to death. Crackle! A series of firecrackers sounded out. When the cannibal bees got within 1 foot of Ling Xiao, they suddenly exploded into pieces. Dead bodies fell all over the ground. Looking at this horrifying scene, the cannibal bees were so scared that they started backing off. They didn't dare get any closer. So boring. Ling Xiao shook his head. The cannibal bees that everyone was talking about had now reached him. It had actually become an inconspicuous piece of trash. He didn't even need to attack. He just kept walking forward. It was as if he was enjoying the scenery. The swarm of cannibal bees didn't get within 1 foot of him. They even avoided him when they saw him walking towards them. Although the cannibal bees had small brains, they still had some. It was impossible for them to attack an enemy they couldn't defeat. Beside him, there were countless battles going on. Some of them went through a tough battle and finally managed to keep their lives. They finally managed to take a few steps forward. Some of them were killed on the spot. But no one would have thought that Ling Xiao, who was considered a joke, would be so relaxed. "Brother Ling, you really surprised me," Qi Niming said with a bitter smile. I was worried for nothing. As for those idiots outside, they were all dumbfounded. This guy must have some treasures on him. He must be a warrior from some big family. He is purposely playing with us. I heard that Ghost Sword from the Black Fiend Devil Kingdom also entered the Fendu Devil Forest. Could he be Ghost Sword? Impossible, he is only at the peak 6th Divine Core Realm. I heard that Ghost Sword is a 9th Divine Core Warrior. Everyone were discussing, but no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't figure out Ling Xiao's identity. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version update website. M. Chapter 4153. People couldn't guess Ling Xiao's identity. In the end, they could only conclude that Ling Xiao was a lucky guy. He must have bought a treasure in some puppet city. Only then could he safely pass through this flower field. They couldn't watch the joke anymore. People were a little uncomfortable in their hearts. Especially the person who mocked Ling Xiao just now was the most proud. At this time, Ling Xiao had already walked a few 100 meters away, but he was still standing at the entrance of the flower field and didn't dare to move. Don't push. Can't you see I'm watching the show here? This person was slapped in the face by Ling Xiao, and he felt a little uncomfortable in his heart. Just at this time, he felt crowded behind him. He cursed angrily. This time he was kicked into the flower field by someone, and in an instant his blood essence was sucked dry by the cannibal bees. The moment before he died, he saw a face. Yu Feng, one of the top geniuses of the Yu family. Yu Feng stood there, looking at Ling Xiao coldly, his eyes flashing with crazy hatred. When he was in the southern puppet city, Ling Xiao made him lose face. He had been jealous until now. After chasing all the way, he finally found Ling Xiao. Magic Blade Yu Feng, the super genius of the Yu family, second only to Ling Jiao and Yu Qiong. He actually appeared. Everyone cried out in alarm and hurriedly stepped aside. They were afraid that they would be thrown into the flower field. This person is definitely one of the most popular candidates to obtain the demonic epiphyllum. Only Ghost Sword and Yu Qiong can be ranked in front of him. Ling Xiao, I'll see where you run to. Yu Feng roared angrily and jumped into the flower field. A terrifying aura completely erupted. Hundreds of cannibal bees were killed on the spot. Then he tore through the air, his speed extremely fast. Like a knife god, holding a sharp blade, he chased after Ling Xiao, his eyes revealing an incomparably cold aura. Along the way, the knife Qi cut the flower field into a mess. Countless cannibal bees died under his knife Qi, frantically fleeing in all directions. This kind of scene had never happened before. It wasn't that no one was stronger than Yu Feng. Like Ghost Sword, he didn't like to cause such a big scene at all. Instead, they would pass through quietly. Therefore, the scene was naturally not as domineering as Yu Feng's. So strong. Yu Feng is Yu Feng, but who is Ling Xiao? Ling Xiao is the kid with the strange flame burning on his body, right? How did this kid provoke Yu Feng? Who knows? But since he provoked Yu Feng, he definitely won't be able to survive, right? Everyone watched as Yu Feng behaved atrociously in the flower field. Ling Xiao's gaze turned cold. This Yu Feng was really like a lingering spirit. Logically speaking, he had saved the flying flame lion's life by killing it. This bastard didn't even have the slightest intention of repaying his kindness, and even wanted to kill him? This was simply unreasonable. Kill him. Kill that kid. Many people did not know Ling Xiao, but they overwhelmingly supported Yu Feng to kill Ling Xiao. To put it bluntly, it was because Ling Xiao was just a nobody. If a nobody performed too well, they would be envied by others. And Yu Feng's high-profile and overbearing performance would be admired by others. The reason was that simple. A moment later, Yu Feng had already arrived in front of Ling Xiao. The long saber in his hand suddenly slashed down. The ground was cut off. Die. Clang. Just at the moment when Yu Feng's saber slashed down, a sword blocked his saber. The ice-cold sharpness sent the saber flying. It plunged into the ground. Boom! The sound of an explosion came. Countless cannibal bees died tragically. Who? Yu Feng looked over angrily. Who was it that dared to stop him from killing Ling Xiao? This made him very angry. He saved me. Whoever kills him, I will kill. A cold voice came out from the mouth of a black-clothed youth, like a gloomy iron sword, revealing a terrifying, murderous aura. Ghost sword! Yu Feng was taken aback. Why did it have to be him? Kid, just you wait. I don't believe you can hide under the protection of Ghost Sword. Yu Feng knew that with Ghost Sword, he definitely couldn't kill Ling Xiao, so he could only fly away. Ghost Sword didn't say anything, turned around and left. Looking at his back, Ling Xiao shook his head gently. This person is really straightforward. Actually, you don't need him to fight, do you? Both of us have almost recovered from our injuries. Any one of us can defeat Yu Feng. Black Pearl said in the Dong Sheng Emperor Ring. That's right, Qi Yaoguang also said. Forget it, he has already made a move. No need to say this, let's move on. Ling Xiao shook his head gently. At this time, he found that because of the battle between Ghost Sword and Yu Feng, a large number of cannibal bees were killed, and some cannibal bees fled directly. This made many martial artists who were afraid to move forward take the opportunity to pass through the flower field. The threat of the flower field was greatly reduced, but this had nothing to do with Ling Xiao. Whether there were more or less people, the real competitors were still those few people. Most of the martial artists were actually just bystanders. He walked out of the flower field and continued to head up Thunder Mountain. But at this time, he found that he seemed to be surrounded. There were a total of a dozen people surrounding him. These people were not from the Yu family, the Yang family, or the Three Sections. They were martial artists from some small families. They were quite strong. Ling Xiao looked at these people indifferently and asked, "Do you have any advice?" "Kid, don't play dumb. We all saw that when you passed through the flower field, you used a treasure. This allowed you to avoid being attacked by the cannibal bees. Be obedient and hand over the treasure, and we can let you go." One of them sneered, "And as long as you hand over the treasure, we can protect you. Don't think that you are safe after passing through the flower field. I can tell you the truth. The higher you go, the more dangerous it is. Human demons, and monsters. You don't know what you will encounter. With us, you will be safer. Take that treasure as your reward. I am not used to being protected by a group of trash. I will give you 10 breaths of time. Get lost. Otherwise die." Ling Xiao was very merciful. "Little brat, you don't want face. Brothers, get him." The group of people did not understand Ling Xiao's good intentions at all. They shouted and pounced on Ling Xiao, wanting to kill Ling Xiao and snatch the treasure on Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao shook his head gently. In this world, there were many people who did not understand their own situation and insisted on courting death. Ling Xiao had never had any sympathy for such people. He never thought that evildoers should be forgiven. Mercy should be given to those who do good, not to those who do evil. If they made a mistake, they should be punished. Evildoers had no right to live. This was especially true for those who wanted to kill others. Die! Ling Xiao's figure suddenly disappeared. A moment later, a total of 16 people died on the spot. Their bodies were all smashed. If people did not see this battle, they might think that they were smashed to death by a hammer or other weapons. But the people who were hiding in the distance were very clear. These people were killed by fists. Too scary. Who the hell is this guy? End of chapter. Chapter 4154. Come out now, I know where you are. After killing 16 thieves, Ling Xiao suddenly looked towards the front. His cold voice was filled with impatience. If anyone dared to stop him or threaten him again, he wouldn't waste his breath. He would kill them all. "I told you he has already found us. Why are you still hiding? If you have something to say, just say it." A person walked out from the darkness. It was a girl, and she looked very similar to Ghost Sword. Underneath her cold face, there was a sense of pride. But Ghost Sword was a sword user. This girl was using 2 daggers. Her dark eyes were filled with an unsettling aura. She was a veteran, and her hands were stained with the blood of many. Miss Night Demon is indeed a good judge of character. A laugh sounded out. It was Xue Feiqi from the Blood Spirit sect. This surprised Ling Xiao. After Xue Feiqi left, 2 more people appeared. One was the girl in green from the Green Vine sect. The other was Yuan Meng from the Red Robe sect. Xue Feiqi, the girl in green, and Yuan Meng were only at the early heavenly core realm. Their overall strength wasn't too strong, but all of them were stronger than Ling Xiao. As for the girl called Night Demon, Ling Xiao couldn't see through her cultivation, but he guessed that she was slightly weaker than Ghost Sword, but not by much. After they came out, Night Demon didn't look at Ling Xiao again. Instead, she kept looking into the depths of the forest, as if she was paying attention to something. It was said that the Devil Emperor had 13 disciples, and all of them were outstanding. But only Ghost Sword, Night Demon, and a few others were famous. The rest of them were either in secluded cultivation or had never left the Devil Emperor Palace. That was why not many people knew about them. Ghost Sword always killed people openly, and that was why he was famous. When Night Demon killed people, she came and went like a shadow. Those who were targeted by her wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Night Demon's arrogance wasn't something she pretended to be. It was an arrogance that came from deep within her bones. She was the personal disciple of the Devil Emperor. Her talent was outstanding, and she was definitely favored by the heavens. She was too lazy to talk to an ant. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. In such a world, even an ant could become a dinosaur. If one was too arrogant, the chances of being slapped in the face were too high. If the Devil Emperor's disciple was placed in the heavenly Devil Ghost region, he might really be a peerless genius. However, this might not be the case in the entire 4 regions and 9 worlds. However, this had nothing to do with him. He was more concerned about why these 4 people were looking for him. Is something the matter? Ling Xiao asked indifferently. Xue Feiqi, you're the one who's looking for him. Why don't you tell him? Yuan Meng said impatiently. In my opinion, the 4 of us are enough. Why should we add such a burden? Brother Yuan Meng is right. How can he help us? The woman in green said disdainfully. You 2 don't understand, do you? Back in the southern puppet city, you fainted too early, so you didn't see his performance. He wasn't even afraid of the flying flame lion. With him around, their chances of winning will be higher. Xue Qi explained. He can kill the flying flame lion? Night Demon finally spoke again. She seemed to be very surprised. Could it be a cub? Miss Night Demon must be joking. If it was a cub, how could it cause such a large-scale beast tide? That's a terrifying existence at the peak of the Dan realm. It's all thanks to your brother, Ghost Sword, and Yu Qiong from the Yu family. With the help of this little brother, we were able to kill the flying flame lion. Xue Qi explained. Brother actually killed the flying flame lion. Night Demon directly ignored Ling Xiao and Yu Qiong. In her opinion, if there was someone in this Fengdu demonic forest who could kill the flying flame lion, it would definitely be her brother, Ghost Sword. It was impossible for others. All right, I'm not here to listen to your nonsense. What's the matter? Just say it. I'm very busy right now, Ling Xiao said with a frown. He still had to hurry on his way. He wasn't here to listen to these people bragging. Kid, you've become a hero because of Ghost Sword and Yu Qiong. Do you not put us in your eyes? Yuan Meng said coldly. Believe it or not, I'll kill you right now. Brother Yuan Meng, why bother with a frog at the bottom of a well? Don't be angry, don't be angry. The girl in green held Yuan Meng's arm and persuaded. Xue Qi frowned. He also felt that Ling Xiao was a bit too arrogant. Night Demon was proud. She was the disciple of the Devil Emperor. What did he have to be proud of? But in order for the next operation to go smoothly, he suppressed his anger and said, It's like this, brother. If we walk forward from here, we will pass through the most terrifying area of the Thunder Mountain. That is the territory of the Thunder Demon race. Brother, if you team up with me, your chances of passing will be higher, right? This is called helping each other. Thunder Demon Race? Ling Xiao had never heard of this race. It's actually the demon race. It's just that after being tempered by the demon thunder for many years, these demons have the ability to control demon thunder. Their strength is very terrifying. It's a very special race on the Thunder Mountain. The human demon race had wanted to rope them in before, but they failed. They were beaten very badly. Of course, that's because there was no human demon king. In the Dong Sheng Emperor ring, Qi Niming answered. This brother really knew a lot. Team up with them. With them, you can avoid a lot of trouble. At least ordinary martial artists won't dare to find trouble with you. Qi Niming suggested. Ling Xiao also had the same intention, so he didn't directly refuse. Okay, we can team up. Ling Xiao nodded and said, Brother, how should I address you? Xueqi asked. A small character, not worth mentioning. My surname is Ling. Ling Xiao said indifferently. What arrogance. I asked for your name, and you only said your surname. Humph, forget it. No one cares what your name is, anyway. Yuan Meng snorted and said, All right, Xueqi, let's go. Yu Feng and the others have already gone. Let's go, Brother Ling, follow me. Xueqi didn't have any good intentions in recruiting Ling Xiao. At the crucial moment, using Ling Xiao as cannon fodder was the best choice. After all, no one knew what they would encounter on the way. The situation might be very complicated. Ling Xiao was well aware of these people's thoughts. He didn't bother to say more. He walked at the back alone and opened his Tai Chi eye to observe the surroundings. At the crucial moment, he would release Qi Yaoguang, Black Pearl, Hei Ming, and Qi Niming, and they could all kill those people in front. Of course, he wasn't the kind of person who liked to kill. If the other party was fine, then he would pretend nothing had happened. After the flower field, it was a dense forest. However, compared to the forest in front, there were traces of lightning everywhere. Even a rabbit that was suddenly startled and ran away was surrounded by lightning. The sharp aura made one's skin feel very uncomfortable. Of course, Ling Xiao was an exception. His body now had a part of the demonic Thunderjade's power, and he had the ability to resist evil lightning. Something like evil lightning was even beneficial to him. Evil lightning could stimulate the demonic Thunderjade to release more power. End of this chapter. Chapter 4155. Along the way, Night Demon was basically walking in the dark. Her movement skill was similar to Ling Xiao's Shadow Warrior form. But under the Tai Chi eye, everything was exposed. She didn't talk much, and her personality was similar to Ghost Sword. Perhaps in her heart, Ghost Sword wasn't just her brother, he was her idol. Xue Li followed behind her vigilantly, observing the surrounding situation. Yuan Meng and the girl in green were chatting. It seemed like this couple had a good relationship, but they would laugh from time to time, which made people frown. They knew how dangerous this place was, but they were still laughing as if no one was around. It was hard to tell if they were idiots or just daring. But it did make it easier for Ling Xiao to communicate with the 4 people in the Dongsheng Emperor ring. Your demon emperor really knows how to have fun. The cannibal bees are already so terrifying, and now there are even human demons. I think this thunder demon tribe is even more terrifying than the human demons. Aren't you angry at the demon emperor for testing you? Ling Xiao said with a smile. Angry? Of course not. The demon emperor is our supreme being. Naturally, he had his reasons for doing so. Besides, the heavenly devil epiphyllum is too important. In order to break through to the divine physique realm, almost all cultivators need the heavenly devil epiphyllum's guidance. In the Fengdu Devil Kingdom, I've never heard of any cultivator who didn't use the heavenly devil epiphyllum when breaking through to the divine physique realm. It's such a precious item. If we can get it so easily, who will we give it to? This is the only way to test you. Qi Niming explained, I've read about the Thunder Demon tribe's strength in the ancient records. I don't think they can be compared to the human demons. Because the strongest warrior in the Thunder Demon tribe is only at the perfect heavenly core realm. None of them are at the extreme core realm. Most of the Thunder Demon tribe members are at the 6th and 7th level of the divine core realm. We can still deal with them. Also, there aren't many of them. There are only around 30,000 of them. Compared to the hundreds of thousands of geniuses, it's just a small number. Thunder Demon tribe. They are demons who have merged with the power of demon lightning. Their combat strength might be even more terrifying than a beast warrior from the beast realm. Ling Xiao thought to himself. Actually, he didn't hold any grudges against the Thunder Demon tribe. As long as the other party didn't attack him, he couldn't be bothered to kill. His great ambition was to unify the profound world and restore the coexistence of 10,000 races. Therefore, be it the demon race or the beast race, they were all intelligent races. There was still room for negotiation. He did not have to be killed. Of course, if they dared to make a move on him and infuriate him, he wouldn't hesitate to kill them. In that case, he would not show any mercy. He would even kill humans, let alone demons. Suddenly, Night Demon revealed his figure ahead and said coldly, "There's a situation." Ling Xiao looked ahead. There were more than 10 corpses in the area where the taiji I had locked onto, and they were all hung on the trees. The scene was somewhat frightening. If a newbie who had never seen the world saw this scene, he would probably be scared to the point of incontinence. Despicable Thunder Demon clan, this method is too vicious. It was one thing to kill people, but to actually hang these martial artists as specimens. They were all drained of blood. What a miserable death. Xue Feiqi gritted his teeth. "Don't touch them." Seeing that Xue Fei was about to put down the corpses, Ling Xiao hurriedly said, "What happened?" "There's a trap," Ling Xiao reminded. "There's no trap. Don't listen to this kid's nonsense." Yuan Meng said disdainfully, "You're the one who's **ting. There is indeed a problem." Night Demon didn't notice the problem at first. However, after hearing Ling Xiao's words, she took a closer look. She found that there was an explosive talisman placed in each of the corpses. Once touched, it would cause a series of explosions. Even a heavenly core warrior wouldn't be able to withstand such power. What a cunning Thunder Demon clan! Xue Fei was startled. The more cunning they are, the more they use such tricks, the more it shows that they are not confident in their own strength. Night Demon sneered and ordered everyone to retreat. Then she waved her hand. A cold light passed through a dozen corpses. Terrifying explosions sounded more than a dozen times in a row. The trees in the area were all blown to pieces. Seeing this, Yuan Meng was stunned. He glared at Ling Xiao fiercely, feeling that Ling Xiao had embarrassed him. But in fact, Ling Xiao didn't even bother to talk to him. He had seen too many people like him. Won't such an explosion attract the Thunder Demon clan? Xue Fei was worried. That's why I want them to come. Night Demon smiled devilishly and then quietly disappeared into the darkness. Since the Thunder Demon clan had set such a trap, they would definitely come to check it out. When the explosion sounded, the first thing the Thunder Demon clan thought of was that a prey had taken the bait. At least, they would send someone to check it out. At that time, as long as they caught this guy, they might be able to find the Thunder Demon clan's nest. This was Night Demon's idea. Ling Xiao instantly understood, so he also disappeared into the darkness. The other 3 weren't stupid either, they all hid. They didn't wait long. Suddenly, Ling Xiao's Tai Chi eye caught a figure. It wasn't a human warrior. It wasn't a human demon either. It should be the Thunder Demon clan. The Thunder Demon clan was actually a collective name. Among them there were rabbit demons, cat demons, wolf demons, etc. The only thing they had in common was that they all had demonic lightning. This time it was a cat demon. In the dense forest, it was extremely fast and it was extremely agile. In the blink of an eye, he turned into an afterimage. Early heavenly core realm. Ling Xiao confirmed this cat demon's strength. He wasn't going to fight. If he fought with an early heavenly core cat demon, he would expose a lot of things he shouldn't. After all, there were many people here who were stronger than him. He would just let them deal with it. As for himself, he would just hide for now. He's here. Night Demon was indeed the strongest of these people. Soon, he discovered the enemy's presence. I'll deal with him. Without waiting for Night Demon to attack, Xue Fei-Chi jumped out. This guy is pretty active when fighting. Did I misunderstand him? Ling Xiao glanced at Xue Fei-Chi. He had a subtle feeling in his heart. But what was subtle about it, he couldn't tell. But since Xue Fei-Chi said he would attack, with Night Demon's pride, he wouldn't fight for the kill. As for Yuan Meng and the girl in green, they wouldn't do it either. These two didn't plan to attack at all. The cat demon's body was very agile. His body was slender. This made it easy for him to move with great agility. His head looked like a cat's, but his body was closer to a human's. He had an agile tail that allowed him to hang from the tree at will. Right now, he was standing on the tree, looking down at Xue Fei-Chi coldly. He had a disdainful expression on his face. He looked around and said with surprise, I didn't expect you to see through our plan. Just a small trick, Xue Fei-Chi said arrogantly. Then he turned into a blood-red beam and charged towards the cat demon. The cat demon didn't show any signs of weakness. He also charged toward Xue Fei-Chi. End of chapter. Chapter 4156. The cat demon's hands turned into sharp claws. In the dim environment, they were still shining with the luster of thunder and lightning. The Thunder Goblin clan was indeed powerful. Not only did they have the terrifying physical body of the Goblin clan, but they also had the characteristics of Goblin Thunder. Speed, strength, and physical strength were all there, and their cultivation did not lose to Xue Fei-Chi at all. The only thing weaker than Xue Fei-Chi was probably their martial soul. The Thunder Goblin clan did not seem to have a martial soul. What they relied on was their physical bodies and the power of lightning. The Goblin clan was the same as the Beast clan. In their beast form, they were the most terrifying. But in their beast form, they could not use martial skills and could only rely on their physical strength and innate skills. Their fighting style was too monotonous and easy to be restrained. And in their beast and demon forms, although their physical strength would be greatly weakened, but they could use martial skills that only humans could use. Their bodies also became more flexible. If they really fought, it was hard to say which form was stronger. It could only be said that each had their own merits. The Thunder Goblin clan's cat demon had just started fighting and suppressed Xue Fei-Chi. It forced Xue Fei-Chi to use his martial soul. Xue Fei-Chi's martial soul was extremely special. It turned out to be a pool of blood. This pool of blood was very strange. Not only could it transform into a blood snake to attack, but it also had a powerful corrosive effect. It could suck the enemy in. After using his martial soul, Xue Fei-Chi gradually turned the tables. The cat demon's advantage was getting smaller and smaller. In the end, he suddenly turned around and ran. Despicable humans, you just like to bully others with numbers. But you will definitely die in this forest. Just you wait. His cry came from afar. Xue Fei-Chi had already chased after him. Aren't you going to chase after him? Xue Fei-Chi is alone. If he falls into the trap of the Thunder Goblin clan, I'm afraid he won't be able to survive. Ling Xiao walked out of the darkness and looked at the other three indifferently. Shut up, you trash, who allowed you to speak. You can't help it all and still dare to talk nonsense. A mere goblin clan is as stupid as pigs and dogs. You can even set a trap? Yuan Meng said disdainfully. Pa. Suddenly, Ling Xiao's figure flashed and slapped Yuan Meng's face. His cold fingertips drew a bloody mark on Yuan Meng's throat. Try saying that again. He had a bad temper. Yuan Meng had provoked him time and time again. So how could he swallow this humiliation? Let me go! Yuan Meng shouted in horror. In that instant, just now, Ling Xiao's speed was simply too fast. Although he wouldn't die even if his throat was pierced, he would definitely be seriously injured. That would be too unpleasant. Let him go. The green-clothed woman urged the dark green flame and coldly looked at Ling Xiao as she spoke. Slap yourself 10 times. Slap yourself once. Say that you're wrong once, and I'll let you go. Facing the threat of the woman in green, Ling Xiao was not moved at all. That woman I dare to guarantee. I can kill him before your flames touch me. Despicable brat, if you have the ability, fight me one-on-one. What's the point of a sneak attack? Yuan Meng roared. Pa! Ling Xiao slapped him again and said coldly, Try saying that again. Night Demon stood there as if he did not see what was happening here. Why should she care if the ants were making a ruckus over there? Kneel down. Ling Xiao kicked Yuan Meng's elbow and said coldly, Brat, you're courting death. I'm from the Red Robe sect. How dare you touch me? Yuan Meng was still showing off. Too much bullshit. Ling Xiao suddenly raised his hand and was about to chop off Yuan Meng's arm, but he was stopped by the green-clothed woman. Needless to say, the green-clothed woman was very strong. If Ling Xiao fought one-on-one, if he didn't use his martial soul or some other special ability, he wouldn't be able to defeat either of them. Get lost. The devilish flame talisman was unleashed. A ball of devilish flame shot out from the talisman, scaring the green-clothed woman and forcing her to take a few steps back. A divine rank heavenly king talisman was powerful enough to kill an early heavenly core warrior. So you have this kind of treasure on you. No wonder you're so arrogant. Fine, brother Yuan Meng. Just do as he says. I can't save you. The green-clothed woman was very smart. Looking at the situation, she knew it was hopeless to save Yuan Meng. Yuan Meng's face turned red. But if he had to choose between living and losing face, he would definitely choose to live. Therefore, he slapped himself 10 times in the face. He also shouted, I'm sorry 10 times. Remember what you just said. If you still dare to act recklessly after I let you go, I'll kill you. No matter what you do next time, I'll kill you. Ling Xiao let go of Yuan Meng, and in an instant he reappeared 10 meters away from Yuan Meng. Yuan Meng was not a weakling. He had to be careful, but Yuan Meng was very obedient. He didn't act recklessly, although a hint of hatred flashed through his eyes. But this guy had become more obedient than before. That's good. Ling Xiao sneered. He stood there and waited for Xue Feiqi to finish. What the hell was Xue Feiqi doing? Judging from the interaction just now, he didn't seem like an impulsive guy. Why did he chase after Yuan Meng alone? Ling Xiao's heart was beating like a drum. He had a feeling that this whole thing was a conspiracy, but he couldn't tell what kind of conspiracy it was. His eyes seemed to be covered by a layer of fog. No matter how powerful the conspiracy was, it was not as good as powerful strength. Thinking of this, he simply closed his eyes and waited silently. Not long after, Xue Feiqi came back, and he seemed to be injured. What's going on? Yuan Meng asked. Don't mention it, we were ambushed. Damn it, I didn't expect the Thunder Goblin clan to play dirty, but I still escaped. And I'll tell everyone a piece of good news. I found the lair of the Thunder Goblin clan. I don't know if you dare to go, but there are many powerhouses there. Xue Feiqi's injury was not serious. Ling Xiao took a closer look and found that he was indeed injured by the Thunder Goblin clan. But he felt that it was different from the injuries he suffered during the battle. But he didn't say it out loud. He was now sure that Xue Feiqi was plotting something. But he wasn't interested in this conspiracy at all. He was more interested in what the Thunder Goblin clan was guarding. In the Fengdu Devil Forest, there must be other treasures besides the Heavenly Devil Epiphyllum. He had already obtained the Heaven-Covering Palm and the Heavenly Devil's Heart. Presumably, other martial artists should have also obtained some unique things. This Thunder Goblin clan was such a powerful clan, so they probably had powerful items guarding them. Maybe it was not as good as the Heavenly Devil Epiphyllum, but it must be very useful. Go. Night Demon's cold voice sounded. This woman was obviously a bold person and was not afraid of any conspiracy at all. She was the same as Ling Xiao, believing in strength more. With enough strength, any conspiracy in this world could be solved. I'll go too. Yuan Meng had a stomach full of anger with Ling Xiao, and she was obviously going to vent it all on the Thunder Goblin clan. If Big Brother Yuan Meng wants to go, then I'll go too. The green-clothed woman said, Brother Ling, what about you? Xue Feiqi smiled and said, If you are afraid you cannot go, I won't force you on this matter. End of this chapter. Chapter 4157. Why don't we go? Ling Xiao smiled faintly. As for whether they would attack or not, that was another matter altogether. There was nothing wrong with going and taking a look. What if the heavenly devil blooming Sirius was there? Or perhaps other precious treasures would appear. All right, let's go then. A cruel look flashed across Xue Feiqi's eyes, but no one noticed it. Ling Xiao didn't notice it either, but he could feel Xue Feiqi's sudden evil aura. Although it was just a flash, he could clearly capture it. The 5 of them set off again. This time, their speed was very fast because Xue Feiqi had already been to the Thunder Goblin tribe's nest. Naturally, he was familiar with the way. Along the way, they saw many traps set by the Thunder Goblin tribe. Most of them used the corpses of warriors as bait. This caused Ling Xiao's brows to furrow even more. Although he yearned for the profound world that was unified by all races, but he was a human after all. The way the Thunder Goblin tribe treated human warriors made him very disgusted. Killing on the battlefield was inevitable, but after killing they still humiliated them. This was too much. While the 5 of them were on their way, they were also ambushed by the Thunder Goblin tribe. But they were all killed by Yi Mei alone. Yi Mei's strength was very strong. Ling Xiao speculated that she might be stronger than Yufeng, but she should only be at the peak heavenly core realm. Compared to Gui Jian, she was far weaker. From the beginning to the end, he didn't make a move, because there was no need to. Yi Mei alone could kill all the Thunder Goblin tribe they encountered. She was much better than Xue Feiqi. Ah! Suddenly, a miserable scream came from the front. It was a woman's scream. Ling Xiao frowned. It looked like another martial artist had met with misfortune. That's one of the Thunder Goblin tribe's nests. Xue Feiqi said, Let's go. Yi Mei didn't even think and rushed out. Ling Xiao couldn't help but shake his head. Although this woman was strong, she was too reckless. Sometimes her strong strength would become a means for others to use against her. But since Yi Mei had already rushed out, they could not follow. Xue Feiqi, Yuan Meng, and the woman in green followed. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, sank into the darkness and took on the form of a shadow warrior. Where's that guy? When they arrived outside the Thunder Goblin tribe's nest, Xue Feiqi suddenly realized that Ling. He could not help but ask, Don't bother about him, let's go in. Yuan Meng, said Yuan Meng. He only dared to mutter a few words when Ling Xiao was not around. Previously, Ling Xiao's performance had really frightened him. Tiwi, Xue Feiqi whispered. The lair of the Thunder Demon tribe was more like a cave. If he hadn't seen Thunder Goblin guarding outside, it would have been hard to confirm. At this moment, in the cave, a woman was kneeling there in fear. He stared blankly at the corpse of his companion on the ground. Both of them were Peak 6th Divine Core Warriors. The only reason they entered this place was to search for treasures. In the beginning, they were quite lucky, as they didn't encounter any Thunder Goblins. But when they reached the depths of the cave, they were surrounded by the Thunder Goblin tribe. The man had been killed. The woman was completely dumbfounded. But the Thunder Goblins didn't kill her. They dragged the woman into one of the forks and disappeared. The cave became quiet once again. We're not waiting anymore, let's go. Outside the cave, the woman's scream caused Yi Mei to furrow her brows. She dashed into the cave. Xue Feiqi, Yuan Meng, and the woman in green didn't dare delay. They quickly followed her. After all, Night Demon was the strongest amongst them. Following Night Demon was obviously safer. It was pitch black inside the tunnel, but there would be a bright soul stone lamp in every place they passed. This lamp consumed soul stones to light up the cave, and it was very effective. The four of them were walking carefully, but Yume was walking too fast. Soon, she disappeared in front of Xue Feiqi and the other two. Damn, this woman is drunk. Xue Feiqi cursed in annoyance. Right at this moment, he suddenly heard some rustling noises. He quickly turned around. When they came in, they didn't see any thunder goblins. If there were any thunder goblins following them in, they should be able to sense it. But the rustling noises obviously came from behind them. No way. Could it be that we've been tricked? Yuan Meng turned around as well. Her expression darkened. Watch out! Right at this moment, the woman in green suddenly shouted. A figure suddenly jumped out from the wall. He thrust his sword at Yuan Meng. Luckily, the woman in green reminded her, and Yuan Meng quickly blocked the attack with her sword. She barely blocked the attack, but more and more thunder goblins walked out from the wall. What's going on? The three of them were startled. Damn it, we've been tricked by these demons, Xue Feiqi said with a frown. Luckily, the strongest thunder goblin is only a peak 6th heavenly core warrior. He's no match for us, so it'll be easy to deal with him. Yuan Meng observed the strength of these thunder goblins. Although there were a lot of them, nearly 100 of them, they weren't strong. Is that so? You stupid humans. Do you really think the thunder goblin tribe is weak? A rough voice sounded out from the tunnel. 10 figures blocked Xue Feiqi and the others' path of retreat. These 10 guys were much stronger than the 100 cannon fodders. The strongest one was a late 8th heavenly core warrior. Although he wasn't the strongest existence in the Thunder Goblin tribe, he was still one of the strongest. Furthermore, the combat strength of a demon was much stronger than a human warrior at the same cultivation level. Therefore, even Yi Mei might not be able to defeat this guy. Among the other 9 Thunder Goblins, 8 of them were perfect Earth Core Warriors, and 2 were early Heavenly Core Warriors. All of them were pretty strong. This gave Xue Feiqi and the other 2 great pressure. The profound world belongs to us, the Demon King. It's the Human King who took over our land. Therefore, all of you humans should die. The leader of the Thunder Goblins was a Thunder Lion. It had the head of a lion, and it looked very ferocious. Its body was covered in lightning, and anyone could tell that it wasn't easy to defeat it. Where did these guys come from? Even now, Yuan Meng and the others still didn't understand. They had been very careful when they came in, but they still fell into the trap. Right at this moment, on the other side, Yume had retreated. Following behind her was another group of Thunder Goblins. It wasn't because she couldn't defeat these Thunder Goblins. She was just worried about the safety of her companions. This woman looked cold on the outside but warm on the inside. She was a nice person. Those below the 7th Heavenly Core realm, step back, the leader of the Thunder Lions ordered. He knew that although there were only 4 humans, they were all very strong. Although they were only 4 humans, they were very strong. If he sent his men to fight them, they would just die in vain. Therefore, he decided to send out his elites to deal with these guys. That woman, I'll deal with her. After saying that, he chose Yimei. The Thunder Lions could tell that Yimei was the strongest amongst the 4, so of course he would choose her. End of this chapter. Chapter 4158. A bunch of demon beasts. How dare you look down on us humans? Fine, who dares to fight me? Yuan Meng was almost killed by Ling Xiao, and now she was surrounded by thunder demons. She was really angry. She wanted to vent her anger. Let me. The one who spoke was a thunder demon with a wolf head. He rubbed his palms together and suddenly dashed towards Yuan Meng. I'll kill him then. The one who spoke was the cat demon they encountered earlier. He looked at Xue Feiqi and immediately charged towards him. As for the girl in green, she was surrounded by the remaining 7 perfect Earth Core Thunder Demons. When it came to women, they would only capture them, but not kill them, because they had other uses for women. The battle had begun, but no one knew where Ling Xiao had gone. Ling Xiao was actually in the cave. When he entered, he noticed that there was a cave under each of the energy stone lamps. The cave was hidden under the lamps. Therefore, he couldn't see it. It was easy to miss it. Ling Xiao checked the tunnels near the cave, but he didn't find any thunder demons. There was nothing good here. This made him feel disappointed. Just as he was about to continue moving forward, he suddenly heard the sound of a battle. He transformed back into his shadow warrior form and walked over. A group of thunder demons had blocked the entrance and exit of the tunnel. Right now, Yume and the others were fighting. On the other hand, Night Demon was pretty strong. He was locked in a fierce fight with the late 8th Divine Core Thunderlion. No one was able to do anything to the other. Xue Feiqi and the Cat Demon were on par with each other, and this had been proven before. Although Yuan Meng talked a lot and didn't respect Ling Xiao, she was still strong. But he had to admit that this genius from the Red Robe sect did have some skills. Although the Thunder Demon had suppressed him, he couldn't defeat him. Also, during the battle, it seemed like Yuan Meng was learning and becoming stronger. Perhaps the girl in green was the most unlucky one. The martial skill taught by Lu Luo wasn't suitable for fighting. It was more suitable for supporting. It didn't have any powerful martial skills. Even the Jade Flame was used to save people. Being besieged by 7 perfect Earth Core Stage Thunder Beasts, she was in great danger. If not for his strength, he would have died long ago. But if this continued, it was only a matter of time before she was killed. These thunder demons are blocking the entrance. I'm afraid I can't pass through directly. Although the Shadow Dancer form could pass through objects, even people, it was impossible for it to pass through them. But there were limits to that. If he transmigrated too many times at once, he would reveal himself. Let's just kill our way over. Thinking of this, Ling Xiao suddenly revealed himself. He punched into the Thunder Goblin group. The sky was filled with corpses. He had no sympathy for Thunder Demon. Just now, in the forked cave, he saw a scene that would make any human angry. Abused women begged him to kill them, because they were used as tools for Thunder Demon to vent his anger. They were even treated as breeding machines. After the demon race cultivated into a human form, they possessed the ability to combine with humans. However, demonic chi would greatly shorten a human's lifespan. In order to expand their scale, the Thunder Demon clan actually learned from Gorlin Mo. Such a disgusting creature. How could Ling Xiao sympathize with them? Seeing Ling Xiao appear, Xue Feiqi furrowed his brows. But the woman in green, Yuan Meng, and Night Demon were all delighted. No one would reject the arrival of a helper. Deal with that woman. Send one of you to deal with that young man. As the leader, Leisure could easily tell Ling Xiao's strength. Peak 6th Divine Core Realm. He was nothing to worry about. But, judging from Ling Xiao's performance just now, perhaps his combat strength had reached the 7th Divine Core Realm. Therefore, he sent out a Peak 7th Divine Core Thunder Demon to deal with Ling Xiao. He thought it was more than enough. This Thunder Demon had the head of a human, but the body of a snake. He could also control lightning. A human who is here to die? With your weak body, what can you do? The Snake Demon looked at Ling Xiao with disdain. He felt that the Vice Clan chief was looking down on him. Why did he arrange such a trash opponent for him? But since it was the Vice Clan chief's order, he couldn't disobey the order. As he spoke, his body had already darted out and wrapped around Ling Xiao. That idiot! Night Demon smiled bitterly. When Ling Xiao entered the battlefield just now, his performance was pretty cool, but now he was back to his original form. He was wrapped around by this Snake Demon. This Snake Demon had a terrifying strength, and once he was wrapped around by it, he would definitely be strangled to death. Ha 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 ha! I'll strangle you, puny human! The Snake Demon was excited as well. After killing you, I have more important things to do. Why are you in such a hurry? Why don't we have some fun? Ling Xiao said with a smile on his face. Night Demon furrowed her brows. She didn't understand Ling Xiao at all. How could he still laugh at a time like this? Idiot, weren't you very strong when you fought me just now? Why did you suddenly become trash? Yuan Meng couldn't help but roar out. He was hoping that after Ling Xiao killed the snake demon, he would go over and help him. He was currently being suppressed by the thunder demon. Although he wouldn't be defeated, he still felt uncomfortable. Shut up. If you keep talking, I'll kill you right now, Ling Xiao said coldly. Don't brag. You can't even protect yourself now, and you still want to kill me? Yuan Meng said disdainfully. Can't protect myself? Ling Xiao smiled and suddenly opened his mouth to bite the snake demon. F***CK, is this human crazy? How dare you compare your teeth with ours? The next moment, the snake demon let out a shrill scream. The snake's skin on his body had been bitten off. A piece of snake meat was bitten and blood flowed out. It was so painful that he saw stars. I'll kill you. The snake demon bit harder and opened his mouth to bite Ling Xiao. Once my poisonous fangs bite you, you'll be paralyzed. You will be immediately paralyzed and unable to move. Finally, you will die slowly. You will die in the most painful torture. Really? Ling Xiao spat out the flesh in his mouth. It's really disgusting. Sure enough, it's better to cook snake meat. It's not good to eat raw. Crack! At this moment, the snake demon had bitten Ling Xiao. But that feeling was as if he had bitten on a piece of heavenly iron. His poisonous fangs were actually broken. F***CK, what is this guy's body made of? Why is it so abnormal? The snake demon was frightened. He finally realized that he might have underestimated this guy in front of him. It's too late to know that I'm abnormal. Ling Xiao suddenly let out a roar, releasing a terrifying power. The pitiful snake demon was directly broken into several pieces. In the end, it was burned to ashes by the flames. This scene left everyone dumbstruck. To be honest, Night Demon and Xue Feiqi did not put Ling Xiao in their eyes at the beginning. They only invited Ling Xiao to join them because they felt that there was one more person and one more strength. Thunderous Lion Vice Patriarch did not take Ling Xiao seriously either. So he sent a Perfect Earth Core Stage warrior to deal with Ling Xiao, who knew that he would be killed instantly. End of chapter. Chapter 4159. The snake demon was sent flying away. Its body was broken into pieces, and it was burned into ashes by the flame. Ling Xiao lightly flicked the dust off his body. Then he threw a disdainful glance at the thunder demon, who was feared by everyone. He was able to win against a demon in terms of strength and body. He was probably the weirdest of the weirdest. The few people who were fighting over there didn't expect the battle to end so quickly. All of them suddenly stopped. This gave Yuan Meng and the girl in green a chance to catch their breath. Damn it! Leave 2 of you to deal with that girl. The rest of you go and deal with that guy. The Thunder Lion was obviously angry. He also realized how frightening Ling Xiao was. Therefore, he only left 2 perfect Earth Core Thunder Demons to deal with the girl in green. The rest of the 4 Thunder Demons leapt towards Ling Xiao. In his mind, Ling Xiao's threat had surpassed the girl in green. TSK, I don't have time to waste with you. Bang! After knocking away countless Thunder Demons, Ling Xiao ran deeper into the cave. He was here to search for treasures, not to fight. Because the Thunder Demons were blocking his path, he was forced to reveal himself. Now, he had to continue his treasure hunting journey. Chase! The 4 perfect Earth Core Thunder Demons chased after him like crazy. The deeper part of the cave was where their real nest was. The old, weak women and children of the Thunder Demons lived there. And, of course, their most important breeding machine. They couldn't let Ling Xiao destroy it. That's great. I can finally relax. Seeing Ling Xiao leaving with the 4 Thunder Demons, the girl in green let out a sigh of relief. She had been suppressed by the Thunder Demons for half a day, but she was still able to deal with 2 perfect Earth Core Thunder Demons. She even had the upper hand. No matter what, She was an early heavenly core warrior. She couldn't embarrass herself. Yuan Meng felt a bit depressed. He was hoping that Ling Xiao would help him after dealing with those thunder demons. But now Ling Xiao had left? F***CK. Didn't that mean that he had to face this terrifying Thunder Wolf Goblin alone? This Thunder Wolf Goblin was probably the strongest after the Thunder Lion. He was even stronger than Xue Feiqi's opponent, the Cat Demon. Not only was he extremely strong, but he was also extremely fast. If he, Yuan Meng, had not grasped some powerful martial skills, he would have long been torn to pieces by this guy. Damn it, how annoying! He looked back and saw that the 4 thunder demons were chasing him closely. Ling Xiao couldn't help but frown and simply stopped. This was someone else's territory, and he was unfamiliar with the place. It would not be easy to get rid of these 4 people. It would be better to kill 3 of them first and leave one as a guide later. Thinking of this, he suddenly stomped on the ground and rushed towards the 4 lightning demons. The thunder demons were originally very fast, but they did not expect Ling Xiao to suddenly change direction. It was too late to stop. Boom! One of the thunder beasts collided heavily with Ling Xiao. At this time, Ling Xiao had already entered the beast soul transformation of the everlasting heavenly rat. His sharp claws pierced through the dantian of the thunder demon. Like human martial artists, the monster race could cultivate their inner cores. It was just that their inner cores were called monster cores. It was not the same as the crystal cores of monster beasts. Kacha! The monster core shattered, and energy flowed into Ling Xiao's body. That guy actually dared to absorb our monster chi. Isn't he afraid of going insane? The other 3 thunder demons looked at Ling Xiao in surprise, and they were all very confused. The next moment, Ling Xiao told them with practical actions that he was fine. Not to mention monster chi. Ling Xiao could absorb any kind of energy. His tyrannical sky martial spirit was no joke. Transform. This kid is not easy to deal with. Seeing the situation, the remaining 3 demon race knew that they had encountered trouble. The human in front of them was more terrifying than they imagined. While talking, the 3 demon race's bodies were wrapped in shining lightning. Their bodies were changing. A black panther, a pangolin, and a giant bat. These were the true forms of the 3 demon race's demons. Because the cave wasn't big after transforming. Their bodies weren't that big. At most, they were 2 meters long. If they became too big, moving around in the cave would be a problem, let alone fighting. But don't underestimate them just because of their small size. After transforming into their demon beast form, the combat strength of these demon race's demons had increased tremendously. Although these 3 demon race's demons were not at the early heavenly core realm, they were at least at the early heavenly core realm. But when they worked together, their combat strength was at the early heavenly core realm. They could definitely pose a threat to Ling Xiao. Do you think you're the only ones who know how to transform? Do you really think Daddy can't transform? Ling Xiao sneered. He had also transformed into his complete beast form. He had transformed into the infinite heavenly rat. A pair of wings that looked like blades appeared behind his back. His sharp claws and teeth were shining with a cold light. His body wasn't big either, but his overall combat strength was skyrocketing. Under normal circumstances, Ling Xiao didn't want to transform into this form. It was too ugly. But when facing a demon race, he didn't have to worry about that. Roar! A horrifying roar sounded out. When he flapped his wings, the sand and rocks in the cave were blown away, creating loud, rumbling noises. And this was because Ling Xiao had controlled his strength. If not, the cave would have collapsed. After transforming into a complete beast form, my strength and speed have increased tremendously, allowing me to defeat an early heavenly core warrior with just my body. But I can't use any martial skills or secret skills. This is a small flaw. But if I can solve this problem with my body, why should I use any martial skills or secret skills? Let's just do it. Ling Xiao could feel how terrifying his combat strength was when he transformed into this form. Within his terrifying body, there was a killing intent that even the demon race was terrified of. Don't be afraid, he's only good-looking but useless. Let's do it. The demon race was always confident in their bodies. They felt that even if a human transformed into their appearance, it would be useless. The 3 thunder demons turned into 3 lightning bolts and leapt towards Ling Xiao. They opened their bloody mouths and sharp claws, trying to bite and devour Ling Xiao. Along the way, the lightning bolts shattered all the rocks on the ground. They were all turned into dust. Don't underestimate these demonic lightning bolts. They were very powerful. The reason why Yuan Meng was having a hard time fighting the Thunderwolf was because of these demonic lightning bolts. If not, she wouldn't have been in such a disadvantageous position. But these lightning bolts were nothing to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao's body unleashed a blood-red, murderous aura. Although he was only a meter tall, the terrifying murderous aura made him look like a human being. But the murderous aura seemed to have occupied the entire cave. It was like a devil that had been sleeping for tens of thousands of years had suddenly awakened. The 3 demon race warriors were so scared that they stopped in midair. Ling Xiao didn't care if they were scared or not. He let out a loud roar and shot out like a cannonball. Crack! His claws easily crushed the bodies of 2 demon race warriors. The flames burned their bodies at the same time, and the energy flowed into Ling Xiao's body through his arms. The remaining Black Panther turned around and ran. End of chapter. Chapter 4160. Black Panther was scared. He had to escape. The 3 of them joined forces, and 2 of them were easily killed. What hope was there for them to win? However, before Black Panther could run 10 meters, Ling Xiao's claws grabbed his neck and pressed him to the ground. His whole body was paralyzed and he couldn't resist at all. Buzz! Ling Xiao returned to his original body and opened the demonic eye. Black Panther immediately fell into an illusion, thinking that it was Thunder Lion in front of him. Deputy Patriarch, quickly kill that kid. He went deep into the nest. Let's chase him together. Ling Xiao smiled slightly. Poor Black Panther didn't realize that he had fallen into an illusion. After all, his soul power was too far away from Ling Xiao's soul power. Following Black Panther, they finally arrived at the Thunder Goblin Clan's nest. Ling Xiao easily killed Black Panther. This guy naturally couldn't be left alive. It was already merciful that he didn't torture the corpses of these guys. In the Thunder Goblin Clan's nest, there were many old, weak women and children. Well, they could be considered old, weak women and children. But these guys couldn't be sympathized with at all. At this moment, they were whipping the female warriors who had been captured. They were extremely happy. Ling Xiao's eyes flashed with a hint of ruthlessness. He simply released the undying bird's fire and burned this place down. Under the ashes, only the treasures could be left. The sins and insults all disappeared at this moment. The second half of the heaven-covering palm, there was only a small piece of metal in the ashes. It recorded the words behind the heaven-covering palm. So what I cultivated was actually a defective product. The real heaven-covering palm is called the heaven-covering palm. Its power is much stronger than the heaven-covering palm. Ling Xiao smiled slightly, held the small piece of metal in his hand, and absorbed the memory inside. But it wasn't destroyed. Such a powerful martial art would become a treasure of the Scarlet Sun Kingdom in the future. If he was the only one who became strong, the Scarlet Sun Kingdom would never be considered strong. Ling Xiao didn't go back to help. This group was only a temporary group. No one had any good intentions. If he wanted to help, he would only help Night Demon. Night Demon was worth helping. As for the other 3, who knew what kind of scheme Xue Feiqi was plotting? He was simply a schemer. Yuan Meng was not a good person either. He was extremely arrogant and even spoke rudely to him. He had already given him a lot of face by not killing him. As for the woman in green, she was Yuan Meng's woman, so she couldn't be saved either. He sat cross-legged in the middle of the flames, absorbing the demonic aura around him. At the same time, he was cultivating the heaven-covering palm seal. Once the heaven-covering great palm imprint was cultivated to the beginner level, it was already a peak 8th level emperor grade martial skill. Moreover, its destructive power was even more terrifying than a peak 8th order emperor grade martial skill. Compared to the previous heaven-covering palm, it was much more powerful and had a much larger area of effect. About half an hour later, Ling Xiao stopped cultivating. He activated his Taiji eye and looked into the distance. The battle over there had also come to an end. Vice Patriarch Lei Shi was heavily injured by Yi Mei and had no choice but to order the Thunder Goblin clan to retreat. Moreover, the fluctuations coming from the depths of the cave had already told him. The breeding machines that the Thunder Demon clan had worked so hard to raise were destroyed. Even the old, weak women and children were all killed. This place became a meaningless place. It was useless for them to stay. Night Demon and the others did not chase after them. After seeing the Thunder Demon clan retreat, they searched the depths of the cave. Originally, it was difficult to find the deepest part of the nest, but at this time the flames were rolling and thick smoke was dense. They easily found Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao, where is the thing you found? Xue Feiqi frowned and asked, What thing? I only found some poor women who were tortured beyond recognition. They begged me to give them relief. As for those thunder demons who humiliated them, they have all been killed by me. What else do you want? Ling Xiao looked at Xue Feiqi indifferently and said, Among these people, the only one he was afraid of was Night Demon. He was not afraid of the other three, although it was very difficult to defeat them. But it was not impossible to win. Don't play dumb. I didn't ask you that. Where is the treasure? Xue Feiqi roared. I don't understand what treasure you are talking about. Ling Xiao stood up and glanced at Xue Feiqi indifferently. Then he looked at Night Demon and said, You are a good girl, so I will remind you. Some people are not good people. Well, that's all I have to say. Take care of yourself. After Ling Xiao finished speaking, he lifted his foot and walked out of the cave. A crafty rabbit has 3 burrows, and there was more than one exit of this cave. Humph! If you don't hand over the treasure today, don't think about leaving. Yuan Meng, this reckless thing, walked out again. She seemed to have forgotten the previous scene. The woman in green stood closely beside him this time, guarding against him, because they all knew that Ling Xiao's strength was not ordinary. Get lost! Ling Xiao sneered and suddenly blasted out a palm. At that moment, the earth rumbled and the cave shook. A terrifying palm print enveloped the entire mountain path. Heaven-covering palm print! Facing this terrifying palm wind, Yuan Meng and the woman in green hurriedly urged their true essence to resist. A gust of wind blew past, and Ling Xiao took the opportunity to slip away. Boom! Under the heaven-covering palm print, Yuan Meng and the woman in green were blown to pieces. Fortunately, their Naiden was not damaged. Otherwise, they would really die. What a terrifying palm skill! A shocked expression emerged in Night Demon's eyes. That palm strike, just now, even she wouldn't dare take it head-on. These 2 idiots actually took the initiative to take it head-on. Although a divine core warrior could recover as long as his inner core wasn't broken. But their bodies were severely damaged, and they were definitely seriously injured. Needless to say, the pain was unbearable. More importantly, their overall strength would decrease, unless their injuries were completely healed. Yuan Meng and the woman in green were slowly recovering, but they were still coughing out blood, and they were extremely weak. They wanted to curse, but they suddenly remembered that they didn't know Ling Xiao's name. Ling, don't let Daddy see you again, or else I'll kill you. Yuan Meng let out a hysterical roar, but he didn't realize that just now, Ling Xiao had injured him and the woman in green at the same time with a frontal attack. None of you are a match for him. Night Demon didn't give them any face at all. Not to mention all of you Even if it was me, I would absolutely not dare to take that palm head-on. Next time, I advise you to avoid it. After witnessing the palm strike just now, Night Demon realized that she had been underestimating Ling Xiao. This handsome and sunny young man's strength was even more outstanding than his appearance. No way, I'm not his match. Xue Feiqi asked doubtfully. Of course you're not his match. Night Demon nodded her head seriously and said, there must be a reason why he doesn't want to tell us his name. Maybe he's the same as me. He's not from the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. Not from the Fengdu Devil Kingdom? Xue Feiqi fell into deep thought, but after a brief moment, he suddenly shook his head. Whatever that guy had left, he wouldn't ruin his plan, would he? I don't care how strong he is, no matter how strong he is. He can't be stronger than the Red Robe sect. Yuan Meng said coldly. Together with the Green Luo sect, if I don't kill him, my surname is not Yuan. End of chapter. Chapter 4161. Night Demon did not say anything else. Looking at Yuan Meng, she felt that she was an idiot. If others dared to provoke you, would they be afraid of you? Would they be afraid of the Red Robe sect and the Lulua sect? You better pray that you don't meet Ling Xiao again. Otherwise, with your temper, you will be killed. Of course, she was too lazy to say these words because she felt that it was a complete waste of her feelings. After all, she was not familiar with this idiot. Are you really going to allow him to take away the treasure? Even if there is no demonic epiphyllum here, there must be other treasures. The demonic epiphyllum will probably end up in the hands of Ghost Sword or Yu Qiong. It's fine as long as we can get some benefits. You don't know how to stop him? Yuan Meng seemed to feel that it was not enough and said angrily, you don't have to worry about that. Xue Feiqi smiled and said, although this is a nest of the Thunder Goblin tribe, you also know that the Thunder Goblin tribe will not gather all their people in one place. Otherwise, they would have been wiped out long ago. The place I'm taking you to is somewhere else. It's just around here. If Miss Night Demon was not in a hurry to come in, I would not have followed you. What? When Yuan Meng and the green-clothed woman heard this, they felt extremely uncomfortable. They complained about Night Demon, but they did not dare to say it out loud. After all, Night Demon was too strong, and they could not afford to provoke her. They could only curse Ling Xiao behind his back. Then why aren't we leaving? Yuan Meng stood up and said, although he was still very weak, he was anxious to find the treasure, afraid that Ling Xiao would take the lead again. Wait a moment with your current situation. You will only be a burden. Rest for half an hour. Xue Feiqi looked at Yuan Meng and said indifferently. Yuan Meng opened his mouth, but did not say anything in the end. Indeed, his injuries were a bit serious. Although he had elixirs, it was impossible for him to recover immediately. Half an hour later, everyone set off again. No one expected that Ling Xiao would be following far behind. How could Ling Xiao miss out on good things? The fight for the demonic epiphyllum was very difficult. Therefore, before fighting for the demonic epiphyllum, he had to get as many benefits as possible. The heaven-covering great handprint and the heavenly devil's heart were the two best things he had obtained after entering the Fengdu Devil Forest. Even if he couldn't obtain the demonic Sirius in the end, it wouldn't be considered a failure. Moreover, he really wanted to know what was going on in Xue Feiqi's head. This guy seemed to be plotting something from the beginning. However, he really didn't know what exactly he was scheming. His curiosity made him want to go and take a look. The real lair of the Thunder Goblin clan was not far from this fake lair, but it was very secretive. Its entrance was blocked by an array formation, and it looked like a complete mountain wall. It was impossible for ordinary people to find it. However, Xue Feiqi was able to find him, which made Ling Xiao suspect his identity. The Blood Spirit Church was the most mysterious force in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. At the same time, it was also the force that most resembled the human demon. Could it be that Xue Feiqi was actually a human demon? Human demons simply couldn't be seen on the surface. This was because most demi-devils possessed both human and heavenly devil bloodlines. If they retracted the power of the heavenly demon and only showed the appearance of a human, Others wouldn't be able to see through it. Even Ling Zhao's Tai Chi, I couldn't see through it. Of course, this was just a guess. Whether it was true or not, he still had to wait and see. Xue Feiqi walked to the hidden entrance and stuck a spirit talisman on it. With a flash of light, a mountain gate appeared out of thin air. This scene really caused Night Demon, Yuan Meng, and the woman in green to be extremely astounded. "How did you do it?" Yuan Meng asked in surprise. "This involves the secret of our blood spirit church, so I can't tell you. If you are afraid, you cannot participate in this battle. Anyway, with one less person, we'll get more treasures." Xue Feiqi said sarcastically, "Just don't ask. How can I be afraid?" Yuan Meng was a typical idiot. Just a little provocation, and she was immediately fooled. Ling Xiao watched all this quietly and didn't come out. He knew that a good show was about to start. "Night Demon, before you go in, I need to remind you that in addition to the Thunder Lion you faced before, the Thunder Goblin clan is also strong, and their patriarch is even stronger. I'm afraid you are no match for him. Do you really want to go in? Why don't you get your brother here? If Ghost Sword is involved, it will be easier." Xue Feiqi suddenly said, "No need. As long as it's not an expert in the extreme core realm, I can deal with him." Night Demon said coldly. Ghost Sword was her idol and also the person she was chasing after. At this time, she was most unwilling to ask for Ghost Sword's help. "All right then." Xue Feiqi sighed, but Ling Xiao clearly caught the smile at the corner of his eyes. This guy was doing it on purpose. Unfortunately, Night Demon was too proud to realize that Xue Feiqi was trying to provoke her. "Woman in green, if you are afraid, stay outside and watch. If anything happens, you can inform us in time." Xue Feiqi looked at the woman in green. "No need." The woman in green shook her head. "I will follow wherever Brother Yuan Meng goes." "All right, let's go in." Xue Feiqi walked in front. Ling Xiao hesitated for a moment before following in. Xue Feiqi was getting more and more mysterious. The moment he entered the cave, he suddenly felt an energy seal the entrance of the cave. There is indeed a trap. Ling Xiao turned back to look at the entrance of the cave. A terrifying force had sealed this place, turning this cave into a true secret chamber. There was simply no way to escape. "Master, please break this array formation. I want to go in and take a look," Ling Xiao told the sleeping Yuan Venerate. "It's just a small seal. It will be done in a few seconds. Master will tell you the method. You can break it yourself." The Yuan Venerate injected a piece of knowledge into Ling Zhao's spirit realm. Ling Zhao's eyes lit up. He opened his Tai Chi eye. He easily found the method to break the seal. However, he didn't try to break it. No one knew if the people inside would be alarmed after this array formation was broken. He chased after it. However, he discovered a strange situation. The lair of the Thunder Demon tribe was actually filled with corpses. The dead were all Thunder Demons. The most terrifying thing was that there were many Gorlin demons in the lair. Even the blood-spotted dove, black barbarian, and flying knife that Ling Xiao had encountered before were hidden inside. Only the young master, Mo Hongwan, wasn't there. Kneeling on the ground were the Thunder Lion, the Thunder Wolf Demon, and the Cat Demon. There was also a guy with a lizard head. He should be the patriarch of the Thunder Demon tribe. This was the scene that Ling Xiao saw through his Taiji eye. Night Demon and the others hadn't noticed yet. A moment later, Xue Feiqi, Night Demon, Yuan Meng, and the woman in green finally appeared. However, they were surrounded the moment they appeared. Thunder Lion, Thunder Wolf Demon, Cat Demon, Thunder Lizard Demon, and many Gorlin demons. As for the 3 human demons, they didn't move. It seemed like victory was already in their hands.